Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah.
Hey, here we are. It's G, it's Tyvis and me. That sounds like that could be a show.
It is.
Like a sitcom from the 80s. G, Tyvis and me.
Let me be politically correct. I don't know how G pull it off, but I'm not going,
G
Welcome back, G.
Put your hand down. Why are you smiling?
Yeah, man.
G looks like he was walking around the campus in North Carolina A&T, so he's got a sweatshirt on.
Shout out to my
and
man.
He's a basketball player in the off season, and he's just walking around campus in the sweatsuit.
Shout out to NCAA.
Pull off pants though.
You need to rip away.
By the way, tearaway pants is nasty for a man. Right, because you got
basketball players always wear those.
But here's the thing: if you're a regular civilian and you tear them away, what you got on underneath them?
You better have some shorts.
No, it's a criminal offense.
Right.
You better have some shorts.
It is a criminal offense, and you should be sent to jail if you wear tearaway pants.
Well, it depends on your occupation.
I mean, Mikey was wearing. Picture him with his little skinny legs pulling off.
I used to love tearaway pants. Come to the game, rip them off, hop in.
So even when you make nuggets, like when you tear away the joints, like it'd be kind of hard to get McNuggets because they usually always come in extra long.
They fact.
So McNuggets be having his hemmed like husky people. Remember you said the Huskies?
Oh yeah.
They be
I
like,
know all about that.
They be like size 48 waist, but it'd be like 48, 28.
Yeah.
I would never.
Well, at least you're tall. I to this day, every time I buy pants, I got to get them short.
You wore tearaway pants when you was
No, I never wore tearaway pants. No, I didn't play basketball.
I wasn't a fan.
Listen, I love it. Hey, by the way, who had the worst tearaway pants in the history of the game? Shout out to Bobby Knight, the Indiana Hoosiers with the
Stripes?
The candy cane stripe tearaways.
I gotta look it
Was
up.
it bad? I don't remember.
Bad job. The best tearaways.
You know why that happened? You know why they're the worst ones? Because the guy who designed those got hit in the head with a chair from Bobby Knight. He was brain damaged.
Bobby Knight, like, think about it. Think about the stuff he used to do. He could never get away with that today.
Oh my! Well, you know who would like I'll tell you who would like Bobby Knight right now. Dan Dockich. Would love Bobby Knight.
Disciple. He's a disciple.
Danny Cannell would love him. All the guys who are ripping Angel Reese in the media, they all love Bobby Knight.
Oh, yeah,
Those
listen.
are Bobby Knight supporters.
G. Bush, hold your Angel Reese thoughts. We're going to talk about that with Brad tomorrow. I know you haven't got a chance to weigh in on it.
No,
We're talking with Brad.
They told me I was off that day. No, I'm playing.
No. All right, we'll hold that there. But there's a lot to get to today, guys. We're glad G's back feeling better. Let's start with the bet there, Mikey, because I'm in a big slump right now.
Yeah, you lost yesterday, as did I on my athletics bet. They beat the Guardians. We'll talk about that. But today's Bull's giving us two bets brought to us by Bet Rivers. Hey, Ohio, Bet Rivers Online Sportsbook is the place to be for every single game. Right now is the perfect time to join Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Using the code SPORTS, you receive a second chance bet up to $500. Get in on all the action with weekly specials on your favorite sports like basketball and hockey to help you win big. Check them out at betrivers.com or download the Bet Rivers app today for the latest lines, odds, and boosts.
And my Bet Rivers podcast of the day, The Bullpen with Adam the Bull, where I rip sports owners. I talk about baseball and the NBA and why the Raiders are going to be a disaster with Josh McDaniels. All on today's podcast will be out probably early this afternoon. I lost yesterday. What am I, 2 under?
You're 2 under on the season, 1 under on baseball picks.
All right, I'm getting, I'm doubling up to try to get right back to 500. This is a big night. All right, I got 2 baseball games for you. I'm taking the Cubs without the run line. They're a slight favorite at -113 at the Reds. The Cubs starting pitching has actually been pretty good so far. The Reds stink. They're a bad team. Like the way the Cubs hit the ball yesterday. I'm going to take the Cubs. And the Rays have Shane McClanahan going, one of the best pitchers in baseball that nobody's heard of, against an awful Nationals team. I'll lay the 1.5 with the Rays in that one. Guys, couple of things of nonsense before we get into our real topics. And our real topics today, we got the over-unders on the NFL lines, which it's a little silly because it's a little early, but it's a fun thing to dive into. DraftKings put theirs out. We'll talk about that. We got the Guardians game from last night where they blew it late. Karinchak blows the save. We'll get to the Cavs as well, and whether they can turn on and off the switch. Plus, it was Earl actually high during the show with what he said yesterday. You guys didn't hear it.
What did he say?
That's the segment. It's going to be called "Was Earl High?" Right, and that's coming up later. Unfortunately, Earl's not here to defend himself today.
What did he say?
You're going to have to wait later to find out.
It does tie into the segment
It does
do anyway.
It
actually
perfectly.
does tie in.
Yes. So we'll get to all of that, but I got to share a couple of things that happened in the last 24 hours. Number one, I did something that I hate when people do it, and I did it. It's the cardinal sin. When you ask a stupid question. I hate when people ask meaningless, stupid questions, and I'll give you the example.
Wait a minute.
So,
you can't say that.
Why?
No question is a stupid
Yes,
question.
there are plenty of stupid questions that I asked a stupid question. So my son was homesick yesterday. Thankfully, unlike in the past when he's missed the whole week of school, he felt totally better this morning, so we took him to school. But he was a few minutes late, so I have to when they're late to school, you got to sign him in. So I sign him in, and I see this woman at the front desk who's not normally there, and I know her because she used to work at the rec center, and she would do some of the kids' sporting events. So I said, "Hey, how you doing? You're working here now?" Why would I ask her, "You working here now?" She's behind the desk. What else would she be doing? Just volunteering her time?
That
was a really stupid question. That was like an uncomfortable way of me like making small talk, and that's inappropriate.
There it is. You got
exactly
caught up in the small talk game. Because the small talk game is like, wow, man, this weather out here. You should never mention the weather unless it's a glacier.
Never.
Unless it's a tornado or a hurricane.
Right, which it might be a tornado today.
Or a natural disaster. You shouldn't be randomly sparking off a conversation about what's popping off up top.
No.
Well, they said if somebody asks you about the weather, you need to check your wallet because that's what's coming
That's
next.
right. That's right. They may be trying to rip you off.
Or Tybus, you might understand this one. Like, so when somebody meets you, right, and then they immediately want to ask you about the most famous Buckeye they know, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they want to tell their stories.
And
yeah.
you're like, hold on, I'm Tybus Powell. Obviously, I'm not as old as Sean Springs. Why you asking me about him? So how's Kurt Herbstreit? You're like, I don't know. If I knew Kurt Herbstreit, I wouldn't be talking to you.
Hanging with Archie Griffin?
Well, I actually do know Kirk Herbstreit and Archie Griffin, but I don't hang with them. But no, actually that happened to me recently. I was talking to this guy, and he was like, he goes, "What years were you at Ohio State?" And I'm like, 2012 to 2015. And he asked me about some linebacker. He's like, "So you played with," I can't remember who it was, but it was some linebacker.
Some random guy.
Yeah. And I say, "Well, when did he play?"
Yeah.
This man says with a straight face, "Oh, it was like in 2002." And I'm sitting there like,
did you not
did
hear
you
that?
not hear me just say?
It wasn't like he was a star player that you might know.
Yeah, how would I know that?
And he put you in a position
Maybe
where
he thought you were Dustin. I mean, you guys look a little alike.
Yeah,
And
you know, I did take a trip down to the Bahamas. I got a nice tan. So, yeah, I decided to cut my hair down a little bit. So, yeah, that's the difference.
it's almost like they put you in a position to tell them a lie.
Right.
Like,
much. Yeah.
lie to me about playing with this dude from 02. I can't,
Yeah.
bro.
And
I don't know.
then I had another interesting thing that happened to me. So I'm sitting at the house, and I get a text message from this guy that I work with down in Columbus on the radio station. He goes, "Hey, have you seen the new movie Creed 3?
Creed 3, yeah,
And
yeah.
I said, "No, I haven't seen it yet."
Neither have
He
I.
says, "Has anybody ever told you look like Michael B. Jordan?"
You look nothing like
And
that.
I said I started laughing.
He's a white guy, right?
He is.
Yeah.
And my response was, well, typically I get Denzel Washington.
Yeah, right. You don't look like him either. Let me tell my fellow white people, Tybus doesn't look like every other black guy you think is famous.
I was looking
all
at
right?
these heads trying to see if I seen Michael B. Jordan.
I don't think you look anything like Michael B. Jordan.
If you want to fool with him, Tybus, just tell him that's your cousin. Because we all got like
Michael B. Jordan is jacked now. I remember back in the day, he was like when he was a kid actor.
The
he was like
Wire,
a little,
Hardball.
Right. He was in Hardball. He was in
Friday Night
The
Lights.
Wire. He was in Friday Night Lights. He was in
Stringer.
He was in This Is Us, or not This Is Us. Yeah, This Is Us. In the
Stringer.
early seasons.
What happened to Wallace?
Not This Is Us. Parenthood.
I was gonna say, yeah, this
He
is
was
yeah.
skinny as a rail. Nice
He was
looking
a legend. And it's
Anyway.
I just want to know
He's a great actor.
why is Rocky not in Creed 3?
It's a whole big thing. So Stallone's pissed.
Right.
So the guy who owns the rights to the quick story to
I'm
all the Rocky
sorry.
movies,
I'm sorry.
He has
everybody.
screwed
No, we got
Stallone
time. You're good.
He
Today's
has
a good day
screwed
for it.
Stallone over the years. He's never let him become like it's a whole big thing. He's lost so much money.
They're screwing Stallone.
The guy, not Michael B. Jordan, but the
producer,
not Anthony Walker. Something Walker is his name. Herman Winkler. I don't know what his freaking name is. But he screwed him, and so Stallone was finally like, "F that, I'm not doing it anymore."
Yeah, well, it's cool. But
I do need to see Creed 3. I haven't seen it yet. You guys haven't seen it?
No,
I watched it this past Saturday. It's on that website I told you about.
Yeah, was it good?
It is. It's good.
Who's the bad guy? Is what's his name from the Marvel movies?
Yeah. I've heard the plot is. I don't remember. Jonathan Majors.
I can't picture that guy as a boxer though. He didn't look that big.
He's
huge.
No, he's huge. He
is?
Yeah,
he must have really worked out for that.
Yeah, he did.
No, come on now. You don't know drug tests for actors.
That's true.
That's true.
Stallone's been on steroids for years. By the way, I saw. Yeah, he was on steroids. I saw John Wick 4. Did anybody see John Wick 4?
Oh, you went to the movies and saw that?
I did. I took my son.
How was it?
It was awesome. I was here Monday. You guys didn't hear this. I had to yell at, I think it was a woman, but I'm not sure, who was sitting in front of me. She took out her phone 4 times in the first 5 minutes of the movie. I said, "Put away your phone." She never took it out the rest of the movie.
Bad job.
You one of those guys?
Big Bad Bull.
You can't take out your phone in the movie.
Yeah,
That's inappropriate.
Yeah,
What
that's
do you mean,
crazy.
why not?
That's crazy.
You don't know this situation. It could be an emergency.
Well, then don't go in the movies if it's an emergency.
It's not like they know that the emergency is happening.
Well, then get out of the theater.
I turn my phone off.
Yeah, you can't be taking out your phone in the movie.
I don't
You take out your phone.
It depends on
before
how the
movie,
movie's
the
going. No, it depends on how the movie's
It was
going.
5 minutes. It's John Wick 4.
It might have been a weak first 5 minutes.
No, it's John Wick 4. There's always somebody getting killed.
Do you know when you speak to people that you have to say something or do something in the first 5 minutes to grab their attention and keep them locked in?
Yes.
Well, obviously, the beginning of John Wick is weak. That's what I just got out of it.
That's why you get all your snacks the first time. If you go in there, ain't no getting up twice.
That's a fact.
No, that's bullshit.
You're like,
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Always get my snacks early.
All that.
I do gotta say, I feel like movie theater popcorn has taken a hit. It's not as good as it used to be.
Really?
That's how I feel right
you
now.
do the-
I'm with you, Bull. I'm with
Do
you.
you do the
The
straw
butter's not as
trick
good.
for the butter? Or you don't
I don't use butter.
Ah, shoot. You have.
I can't use butter.
You're wrong.
Well, here's the problem. I like butter, but if I take the butter, then I'm spending the rest of the day in the toilet.
When did it take a hit like that, bro?
I don't know.
How many showers?
Oh, and a shower. I got to shower every time I poop. So
Man.
I've been to the Crocker Park movie theater recently. I've been to the one in right on the Rocky River. What do you call it? That shop. He said I can't think of the name of it. And both theaters, the popcorn's it's not what it used to be. It's gone downhill.
Wow.
Are you laughing about the pooping after the shower? Or showering after the poop?
I don't think, did he know that?
Oh, my
You know,
goodness.
I shower after I poop all the time.
You know that? That's a,
Man, that's wild.
I gotta be clean, man. When you don't understand what it's like to be
Why
fat.
don't you get a bidet?
You know what? I've been thinking about getting that.
I got one.
You do?
I got a bidet.
You like it?
It is all right, actually.
My in-laws have it, and I liked it. I got to do that. I got to stop effing around.
see, look,
It saves you on toilet paper.
man, I spend a lot. You gotta get the wipes, the baby wipes.
I do have the wipes.
You gotta
I
have
do
them
do
too.
wipes. All right. One last thing real quick before we get to football. Stick with us, fans.
It's off the rails.
All right. We'll get back on the rails here. Let me tell you something. Last night was the first practice for my little league team.
Looking good?
I got a squad.
Really?
I got a squad, and I'm pretty excited.
So you bouncing back from basketball season with me.
Basketball's a disaster. We don't talk about that.
Never happened.
I wasn't the head coach. That's not on
What's
my
the
record.
team name? You were the Rocky River Raptors for basketball. What is this team?
We're Swinging Door. That's our name.
That's a
fun.
Gucci Man song.
Yeah.
That's our sponsor. That's the name of a bar in Rocky River.
Did
It's
you
called
know that's a
Swinging
Gucci
Door.
Man song?
I did not know that.
So it's a banger, too.
See, it's a banger.
Now-
I'm all set.
You should have Aaron come up, his walk-up music.
My son was one of 2
Swinging
kids who
Door.
was not at the first practice because he was sick.
So you got. See,
I got two short thing pitchers, including one kid, tiny little kid, 3rd grader, tiny little kid. I had him pitch, and he was throwing bullets.
They let them throw
strike,
pitches
strike.
now? I thought they was coaches' pitch.
Oh, come
No,
on,
for the
man.
2nd grade, it's coach pitch.
Yeah, that's
Now it's
grown
big
man.
time.
If you got a shortstop, if you got a good catcher,
And a first
And a
pitcher,
first-
catcher, shortstop, first
and a
base.
first
That's
baseman
it.
that can catch the ball,
yeah.
you're dead.
That's it. I got a good squad. I'm pretty excited. All right, speaking of good squads, how good are the squads, guys, in the AFC North? DraftKings yesterday put out their over-unders. Now, obviously, it's early. We still have the draft. There's still a sprinkling of free agent players still out there. But for the most part, the Browns, at least, are pretty set to what they're going to be. I mean, most, if not all of their starters are already on the roster. Maybe they had a linebacker, who knows. But the rosters are pretty set, especially for the Browns. Mike, give us the lines for what DraftKings had. They put out the over-unders in the AFC North.
Yes, we're going to do happy face, sad face for this.
Okay.
So if you think the over will hit for these guys, give me a happy face. If you think the under will hit, give me a sad face. And we put the 4 AFC North teams on one graphic. So we're going to go down in order of projected win totals in the AFC North, and then we'll go to the rest of the AFC contenders. So starting with the Bengals.
Okay.
Had the highest over-under win total in the AFC North at 11.5. Over-under 11.5 wins for the Bengals this year.
I'm over. Although I think that's close.
I think that's like
Very close.
Yeah.
Very.
I got the Bengals at 12-5 this year.
I wouldn't be surprised if they was 11.
I want to say 11.
They could win 11. They could win 14.
I
mean,
I'm going with 11.
But here's what I'm gonna have to stop doing. So the Bengals are at a point where I got to stop thinking that the Bengals gonna fall off. And a lot of people got to come to that conclusion. I think a lot of people in Cleveland be doing this, and it's getting annoying a little bit. Where it's like, but we own the Bengals. No, not necessarily, dog. Like all that, like it's still some leftovers from that Baker Mayfield regime where people be thinking they could throw that like witch doctor stuff on where, hey, the Browns, they own the Bengals. Stop. The Bengals are not going to be trash, not no more unless Joe Burrow get hurt, Jamar Chase get hurt. You got to put some respect on their name at this point. I'm going to go over 11.5.
Yeah, me too. I mean, you think about it last year, the loss to the Browns. Last year, the Bengals got their ass kicked in that one game.
Yep.
In their other 15 games, because they didn't play, the Bills game got canceled. In their other 15 games, they won 12 and lost the other 3 by 3 points or less.
And they had some impressive wins. That impressive win, one of the more impressive wins was when they went to Buffalo in the cold,
playoffs,
snowing, and was like, nah, we're going to get our money off here too. I was like, dang, bro.
I think you going 11-6?
I think the hits on defense going to add up this year.
It's really just safety.
Yep.
But yeah, that's
you need playmakers back there.
I hear you. That is their biggest.
These guys are the safety
and
position.
They lost their starting tight end.
The safety position is obviously I'm a little biased. Full disclosure, I'm a little biased. But obviously the safety position is something that don't get a lot of recognition, a lot of talk about, unless they're doing bad. If you're consistently doing your job and you're getting these runners down on the ground or you're in the post doing your job, it's not noticeable. But if a guy's not, if they got some young guys that's going to be replacing these guys. They
did sign one veteran.
Yeah,
they
got the vet. Yeah. But outside of that, it's just. And then the secondary to me was never like as far as corners goes. They were okay. It wasn't nothing like crazy. So now you don't got that protection over the top that's helping them. So I think that it might cost them 1 or 2 more.
It might. I mean, it's a fair point. The secondary for the Bengals is probably their biggest, tight end, but I don't think tight end's a big deal.
Joe Burrow
secondary is
can
probably
make
their
it
weakness, their biggest weakness. All right, so G and I got them over. Tyvis has got them under. Next.
Correct. And just a reminder, these are lines set by DraftKings. This is not me making them up. This is by DraftKings Vegas Sportsbook. So next up in the AFC North, the Browns.
I think these lines all are pretty reasonable.
Very reasonable.
None of them are easy picks.
No, I know. I'm just saying so people out there don't think this is me. This is what DraftKings
the only reason you think that is if they were way off, and I don't think any of them are way off. I think they're all kind of borderline.
So Browns at 9.5, second highest projected win total over/under in the AFC.
I got
North.
the Browns at 10-7.
I got them at 10
as the 6th seed in the AFC this year. Now, obviously, this all comes down to how much better Deshaun Watson is. If Deshaun Watson is not significantly better, the Browns are not going to win 10 games.
How many did they win with him? They was 2-4 in the last 6.
2-4, yeah.
Okay.
And obviously 7-10 overall. So going 10-7.
Weren't they 3-3 with Watson?
I thought they was.
They were 3-3.
Yes.
Oh, was it 3-3? I thought it was 2-4.
It was 3-3. But the way he played, they probably should have been even worse than that.
Right.
I'm expecting him. I think we are all expecting him to play a lot better. So I'm going 10-7. Browns just over.
But yeah, I got them definitely at 10-7, or 11 wins. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go on record and say 11. Now, here's what I'm looking at in this situation. I believe that Deshaun Watson will be 9,000 times better.
Well, if that's the case, then they have a very good chance.
The last, the Duke of knee jerk.
I'm the Duke.
You had us all drinking the 6-0
Kool-Aid. But see, sometimes the 6-0 Kool-Aid it comes back on you. You know how you you drink too much of something. You give it up and you're like, oh man, I'm sick. I ain't gonna do nothing.
It's calling.
Yeah, and then you get back to the middle of the day. You think you fine, and it come right back again. you'd be like, man, there's some delayed reaction in that.
It's kind of like Chinese food, right? Like you eat Chinese food, you're like, oh, I love Chinese food. It's great. Then you get sick. You're like, I'm never going to eat Chinese food again. Then a week later, you're eating the Chinese food again.
Or
you love it.
Or even eating the leftovers that's 3 days old.
That's right. And so you go into the Chinese buffet. I don't know what's happening.
3 days old. Y'all out of pocket
but
today.
for
3 days old.
Hey, listen,
you
smell
ain't
test.
nobody eat
I
those
just had
3 day
some
old
leftover
Chinese
spare
food.
ribs yesterday.
You'd be like, hold
You
on.
don't get the barbecue spare ribs?
Oh, I love
the barbecue.
Wait a
But
minute.
they don't even
Delicious.
taste like ribs.
First
It'd be
of all,
some,
no.
they put the Chinese sauce
I don't know
on
what
it.
that is, some magical
What
sauce.
is that
I don't
sauce?
know,
I'ma
but it's
keep it.
probably evil for you.
I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. First of all, if I go to a restaurant,
Yeah.
I don't take to-go boxes. I don't because I don't.
That's why you're thin and we're not.
I don't eat leftovers like that. And then if it is, no, listen. If I
You
order,
don't eat leftovers.
I don't really eat leftovers. I don't.
What if you're not feeling well and you can't eat any of your food? You wouldn't take it home?
I'm usually feeling well.
Okay.
It's very, very rare.
So hold on, bro.
I've never been in a spot where I'm not eating. Like,
okay.
You ain't never got dessert like some leftover cheesecake that you
No, you don't take dessert home. That's a sin.
Well, it depends what it is.
Like if I go to the Cheesecake Factory, okay, and I say I want a piece of cheesecake, but I'm gonna take it home.
Yeah.
Like I won't eat it. Like if I start eating it in the restaurant, I'm not going.
So you take something to go, but you won't anything you've already started eating.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's it.
Especially like
Why?
my entree, because I'm not gonna eat it.
Why?
Because I'm just not. I just know I'm not. And it really bothers me because my wife does it all the time. We'll take it to go.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, or she'll say, let me get a to-go box. And I'll be like, for what? You're not going to eat it. It's going to sit in the refrigerator.
So she doesn't eat it ever?
No. So it's like, it's going to sit in the refrigerator and we're going to throw it away in 2 days.
I even eat my wife's leftovers. Like,
Damn right.
So
that's
there's a
the
statute
problem.
of limitation on that. My ex-wife used to be mad because I pounded her food. And I'm like, look, bro, if you don't get to it within 16 hours, you're done.
It's over. The best is like if my wife and I go out for steak once in a while, I'll eat my whole steak. My wife will eat half. And then the whole time I'm thinking, ooh, I hope she doesn't eat the rest of it because I'll be eating it at home. And a cold steak later that night or the next day?
Cold
steak?
Steak and eggs in the morning.
Cold steak?
Hey,
What's the matter with y'all?
I got excited. I got excited.
What is wrong with y'all?
I got
It's cold? I've never had it. I never will have it. Cold
I love
steak.
it,
You
bro.
have not lived.
No,
Travis.
I'm good. I'm good.
And all
I
my
need
wife
it.
orders rice anyway.
The steak,
it.
listen, the steak
All
ain't the
rice.
same if you take it to go. Like if you take it home and try to reheat it, it's
It's
never
not
gonna
as
be the same.
good, I give you that, but it's still good.
No.
It's still good.
No, Bull's
No.
right. Bull's right.
It's still good. It's not as
Y'all
good.
are wrong.
Do you do old pizza?
Cold pizza's
What do
delicious.
you mean?
Like cold pizza, like you pounded some pizza last
Usually
night.
I heat it back up.
Yeah.
So you eat that a day later,
Yeah,
right?
see?
Well, yeah.
See?
It's not
That's
as good.
leftovers.
But,
Mac and cheese is better
you
the
gotta
next day.
you gotta do it correctly. When you heat it up, I got one
In
of
the
them.
toaster or the oven, not in the microwave.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you put it in the oven about
You got to do it like that.
325 or
No,
something.
I got a
500
I got a
degrees.
toaster oven.
Or I got a toaster oven too.
Yeah.
Sometimes if it's just like one piece, I'll put it in the
Yeah.
oven. But if I have like 3-4 pieces, I'll put it in the oven. And I put it at 500 degrees for a couple minutes.
We up here giving
good
out.
to go.
lessons.
All right.
What's next?
Next team.
before we
we
do
Wait,
didn't
I
divide us on the
didn't
Brown.
say. I didn't even say myself.
We went down, I don't know how we got down the
What
food.
did I
started
say?
Chinese
What
food.
did I
The Kool-Aid took us to Chinese, took us to leftovers.
Yep.
Wait, we said Brown's not. Yeah, I got them at 10. I think that they addressed the positions that they need. Obviously, I think the biggest changes is the coaching staff of what they did. I think that alone gets them to 10 wins.
I really am. I have poo-pooed special teams quite often, more than I should.
Really?
I have.
Oh, you disrespectful to me because that was my living.
Special teams, but the Browns have decided for the first time in a while they're taking special teams seriously, and
As
I
they
think
should.
that will help.
Well, I think the reason that they did that is they looked at the season and they said, listen, we got a good kick returner in Ford, and we got a punt returner, one that was hurt, but another one that's also willing, actually took one to the house.
Yeah.
It's like, we might need to start paying attention to that.
I don't know that, what's his name, Grant? Is it Grant? Jeremy Grant?
Jakeem Grant.
Jakeem Grant. I don't know that he's definitely on the team the more I think about it.
You think?
Because they have a punt returner and a kick returner. He's not much of a wide receiver. I don't think I'm saying he might make it, but I don't think he's a short thing.
I tell you what, now that Michael Woods is out, if they draft another wide receiver, I think it's very questionable for sure. Because DPJ is like, we don't really need Grant.
And
if
in
Grant
his
is
30s.
Who is?
Right.
Grant?
Yeah, I think he's 31.
Grant's older. And
Really?
Elijah Moore returned punts at Ole Miss and was
Sneaky
very
old.
good
That's
at
true.
it, too.
Elijah Moore returned punts in college. All right, next. So we're all over on the Browns.
All over on the Browns, and we are all over Built Bars as well, because when
Why
you eat a
wouldn't we
Built
be?
Bar, you are full for the rest of the day. You don't need leftovers because you will eat the entire Built Bar. They're that delicious. Use promo code LOCKDOWN15 for 15% off at Built.com. Next up in the AFC North, the Ravens.
Now,
This is the toughest one because you don't know about the
I'm about
quarterback.
to
don't
say,
know who's gonna play.
8.5.
are we doing this as roster as is?
as is.
So right now, Lamar
You-
is a part of the
well, but
Ravens.
you
I'm
have
a
to-
project.
You have to decide if you think he's going to be on the team or not.
Yeah, he ain't on the team no more.
I
I don't feel like he on the team.
don't think he on the team. If he requested a trade already,
You never know, though. Like,
I mean, he could come back if they. Give
I'm
him
going to
the
go
bag.
under because I don't even buy that they're that good with him.
well, that's that. I
mean,
don't know about
they're
that.
certainly, but without him, they got no chance
They
of winning
got-
9 games.
Well, not 9.
No.
I see him at 8-9 for sure.
No. This is a year.
I give him 8-9.
I think they're a 5-win team without him.
They already.
That's ridiculous.
They all. No. I'm
that
not.
defense is still really
Bull.
good.
I'm there with you. First of all,
Y'all is absurd.
the Ravens got the most injuries I've ever seen.
That's why they fired they strength staff.
like guys be blowing out knees in regular walkthroughs.
Yeah.
Dudes be injured. They don't got. Matter of fact, they don't even got Hundley. Hundley was a guy that they would bring in and be like, okay, well, we can kind of run the same
Yeah.
type of offense. They don't even got him
Well,
no
he's a
more.
restricted free agent.
What
I would
do you mean?
assume they'll bring
They
him
gonna
back.
bring
I thought he
him
was
back.
unrestricted.
No, he's restricted.
Mikey,
so they can
Mikey,
match.
we got to get the. We need the verdict on that one.
But here's the thing. Yeah, their defense is good. How the hell are they going to score points without Lamar? He was their whole offense. They couldn't score last year
They scored. They beat the Browns.
They didn't bring him with Hundley.
with Hundley.
They didn't
Man,
beat him
we
with
did.
Hundley.
We did. No, they blew that game. They should have. They almost beat the Bengals with Huntley.
Almost whatever. You know,
They is a putting the
Remember,
ball out at the
the
2-yard line away.
they've hung in games because their defense is good. But we're not. The days of the super elite defense is over.
look.
Ravens have a good defense. They have the. Without Lamar? Is there a worse offense in the NFL?
No.
I'll get back to you on that one.
They've got
let me
a
think
good
about
tight end. They got decent backs. Decent. No, they don't have a special back. They don't have any receivers. They got nothing.
They
And
are
no quarterback.
They are a few injuries on the O line and
Houston,
into a running
Houston
back.
is worse.
Yeah, but that's
All
You
right,
take,
so
you
they're
take
right there with
Houston's
Houston.
weapons over Baltimore's weapons, though.
Who is their weapons?
Well,
They
signed
got a
Dalton-
nice back.
Dalton Schultz.
Who's the back?
They got Robert Woods. They had drafted Mechie
Their
last
back
year.
is a kid
I
they
mean,
drafted last year, Damian Pierce.
Damian
I
Pierce
like
is a really
him.
good running
He's
back.
good.
Yeah.
He was the only one.
Okay,
though.
so they're tied with it, and we don't. The Texans are going to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, right.
So you know, and maybe that guy's not going to be good. I don't know.
We don't know.
but
we don't know what Bryce Young.
I'd
gonna
still
be.
rather have the Houston offense because at least with the rookie, I got some potential that the guy might be good.
I can
The
wholeheartedly.
run game is the reason why
Nah,
the Ravens was good anyway.
nah, that's
and you
no-
still can run it with the quarterback and the running back.
Lamar Jackson's running game.
That's his-
The rest of their running game was fine.
If you
It was
think-
okay. It wasn't
If you
special.
think J.K. Dobbins not about to come in here and wrestle
Why not? Why
1,500?
isn't he?
1,500?
Come on.
Oh no, he ain't going for that.
No.
How
That's
they gonna- they
ridiculous.
can't
That's ridiculous.
No, like for me, I think Baltimore is a classic case of a couple injuries, and all of a sudden you start to look at, oh, they 1-4, they
Yeah.
2-5.
First of all, let's get something.
They're gonna tank.
Let's get this figured out, right? If Lamar ain't on the roster, they drafted a quarterback with the first pick.
Right, but
And
they're
if-
not drafting high enough to get a good quarterback necessarily.
I think they will.
Where are they
I'm-
drafting?
If Lamar Jackson does not play for them, I got them coming in
I mean, they got
5 wins, maybe
Listen,
4.
they could get Anthony Richardson or Hendon Hooker from Tennessee, and they'll be
Well,
fine.
no, Anthony Richardson is probably going to go higher than that. No.
Oh,
It's with that. You know what?
Richardson's gonna be top 5.
Y'all starting to. It's pissing me off about this dude.
What?
Man.
oh yeah.
Oh, I don't like
Why
him.
do y'all think this man is like that?
Wait, I don't, but teams do.
Like, why?
Why you
Not
blaming
me.
us?
Because everybody got.
I don't trust the guy who didn't do it on the field.
Thank you.
But the teams fall in love with the skill set.
You know what, Tyler?
Everybody, see, Josh Allen got everybody fooled out here, and that's the
Facts.
problem.
Facts.
They think that he gonna
And Josh
be the
Allen was still at least a starter for 2 years.
But
I'm like, this guy
but the
played 1
thing
year.
is, Josh Allen went to a coach that said, "F what we doing. We gonna tear up my offensive scheme. We gonna design it to fit you. If
Yeah.
the coach ain't ready to do that, it's not gonna work."
Tyler, you know this. Everybody be copying. When you was in Seattle, when they had all them linebacker corners, everybody at linebacker, you had 12 linebackers, everybody 6'4" at corner. Everybody was trying to copy that. No, they draft specifically. You don't do that. You got linebackers you're trying to put out there. When Josh Allen came from Wyoming, they said his accuracy wasn't that good.
Where did he go in the draft? What pick?
9.
Okay.
When they drafted him and he hit, man, look, it was now you got.
It took him 2-3 years to hit.
Listen, if you the Panthers or you somebody else and you see a dude running 4.4 and you like, wow, if this could potentially be Josh Allen and he's faster and his arm is just as good.
Is he worth the first-round pick?
Of course he is.
For a guy that's going to might have to sit a year.
Of course he is.
But these guys almost never sit, even when they say they're going to sit.
That's true.
Of course he is. If he turn out to be Josh Allen, and if you draft him and he don't turn out to be that, you're going to get fired anyway.
I tell you what, he definitely fast, he's definitely big, and he definitely got the arm. But all that other stuff, when I turn the tape on, I don't see it. I don't see it.
No player had better highs and lower lows than Anthony Richardson last year.
All right, let's get to the Steelers.
And the Steelers, same as the Ravens at 8.5. They have a little more stability at quarterback, but that may not be a good thing.
2 years in a row, I have predicted that the Steelers would finish under 500 for the first time with Mike Tomlin. And last year they had to win their last, 4 to finish over 500? I hate to say this, but I can't bet against
Tomlin. Oh, my God. I never thought I'd see the day, Bull.
I got the Steelers.
I got the Steelers.
I'm changing my mind.
Let's go.
8-9. Steelers 8-9. They're going under 500 again. I
got the Steelers tied with the Browns. It's going to come down to their last meeting. Who's going to go to the playoffs?
You know why I think I got the Steelers coming. I got the Steelers coming in last place this year under 500.
Yeah. Well, no,
not under the Ravens.
No, not after the Ravens. Sorry, that'll be a third. The reason I got them coming in is because, unlike the past, I think the Steelers and Ravens in this division live off a lot of just nostalgia, bro. We swear Ray Lewis is still playing. Ed Reed is still there, and Ozzie Newsome is still picking these players. All these dudes, Troy Polamalu coming back. I just don't believe in Pickett. I don't either. If you take that over a whole year, I feel like he's a bottom third quarterback.
I agree.
I believe in T.J. Watt. And if T.J. Watt is on that field, their chances of winning is significantly better. I don't know why y'all.
There's no doubt about that.
Don't lie to yourself.
But
I hate Pittsburgh too, but don't lie to yourself.
But their defense is not as good overall as Baltimore.
No.
Now their offense is probably a little better than Baltimore, but
yeah, they got the weapons.
They
got the weapons.
To me, Kenny Pickett is like Mac Jones and these other slappy quarterbacks.
But he got better weapons than Mac Jones.
He does.
If the Browns will go ahead and do what they're supposed to do,
ain't
no reason the Steelers should be able to compete with the Browns.
If the Browns adapt the dog mentality that Pittsburgh have, the Browns will win the Super Bowl. It wouldn't even.
Browns need to go 5-1 in the division this year. They just split with the Bengals and sweep the Ravens and Steelers.
I
feel like
that's hard.
I feel like that's a tough
hard, but they should do that.
I got them 4-2.
But
I feel like they're gonna split with the Cincinnati and the Pittsburgh.
I just feel like the Browns on defense this year. I like how they just basically came out and said we wasn't good enough. Our picks that we was making wasn't about nothing, and we just need to get some veterans in here. They got Schwartz, and some of the stuff that you was able to get off on the Browns last year. You're just not gonna be able to get that off no more. Like running the ball for 200, like it was a two-way goal. Tyvus, you could throw in the Browns and run. It didn't even matter. It just pick whatever you want to. It was T.I. You can have whatever you like. Like you running around like an old sugar daddy. Girl, go ahead and go over there and get you some of them.
Listen.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. I think that they will. I think the run game will be significantly better, just from the simple fact.
You mean the run defense?
Yeah, the run defense will be significantly better just by a coach coming in there and laying the law down and adopting the mentality that they're not going to run the ball on us. So I think that's going to change. Obviously, the secondary, when they figure out that nickel position, which I really think that G. Nugent's might as well just stay there. I know you hate to hear that, but that's just what it is. Once they adopt that, I think that now that the defensive coordinator, he's going to hold these guys accountable. These guys should be locked in. They understand, what's at stake this year, because if they really care about Stefanski like that, then They got to find a way to win some games this year, because if not, we'll have him on the show a lot.
Yeah. So Steelers. I got them falling off a little.
By
bit
the way,
this year.
real quick, guys, before we move on to the other teams in the AFC, yesterday we were talking about the Browns possibly signing Al Woods, the veteran defensive
Yes.
tackle.
Yeah.
Now, Al Woods is a guy, he's old as dirt, but
like
he's still
him,
been
though.
pretty productive. He's
him.
only missed 8 games
He's played
in
12
the
games
last
in
5
10
years.
years.
What's that?
He's played at least 12 games in 10 straight years.
Right, but I like this better. Only in his 30s, he's missed 8 games in the last 5 years. That's 1.5 games per year. He's going to be 36, I think, this year.
Correct.
In fact, he just turned 36.
And I know he was in town. Have they? Is he going?
I haven't heard
anywhere
anything
else?
yet. Have you seen anything in the last half hour? I don't know.
No, and to be honest, Mary Kay's report was he's visiting this week, so he may not
Oh,
have
so
visited
maybe not. I don't
yesterday.
know.
He may be
Okay.
I know
visiting today,
you played.
tomorrow.
You didn't play with him in Seattle.
No, I
you
didn't
played
play with
before
him
he
in
did that.
I like it though. That just goes to show you they're fixing all of the different little stuff, and you know how it is.
Like, I know him. What year was he with the Colts?
He was with the Colts, I think, 15 to 19, maybe.
Then I seen him in 17.
I like
Okay.
I like old dudes in the middle. I like old dudes in the middle when you play defensive line. They know all the tricks of the trade.
Yeah.
They don't get blown off the ball. They don't be getting reached like that. They don't be getting cut off like
It's
that.
because the old guys understand that.
Al,
Yeah.
They
Al
understand
Woods is
the
a
game.
player who, in the game, you're almost never going to hear his name called.
Nope.
Not at all.
Because he's just going to plug up that hole. He'll take a couple of blockers, and he'll let somebody else make the play. But they didn't have that.
At all.
Every young guy on the Browns defensive line is on notice right now. They are all on notice because they have brought in 4 veteran defensive linemen, and if they bring in Woods, that'll be 5. So nobody's guaranteed a job.
Nobody.
And there's never enough good defensive linemen on a team. Never.
I agree with
Because
that.
I want to rotate 7, 6, 8
then,
guys.
and then think about it like this too. They might got 2 free agents they signed in the draft. They number one dude might be a D tackle that they bring in the
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. They don't know.
They could even trade up with all their 3rd and 4th, 5th round picks and trade up to the 2nd round for a defensive
They
guy.
all on
Everybody's
notice.
on notice.
It's good. You need competition.
That's
in the
right.
Browns.
What's
We're
up,
going
Mike?
to go a little quicker on the next 5 here. These are the other 5
All right.
AFC contenders in the same win range as the Browns.
Yeah, good team.
We'll start with number 1 here, the Chiefs, 11.5. That was tied with the Bengals for the highest over-under
Can
of
you
any
ever
AFC
bet?
team.
I mean, I'm not betting on the Chiefs losing 6 games.
No, they better do it. They would have to do that twice in a row before I did it the 3rd game.
Right.
Patty Mahomes will have
I mean,
to
the
go
guy's
down
the best
for that to
quarterback
happen.
ever, or will be by the time he retires, probably.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Bills, 10.5.
This one's a tricky one for me.
I like
right?
what you said. They're very tricky.
It's a tricky one because
Very.
that division is decent. Like, there's no bad team in that division. I think the Jets and the Browns are the 2 new teams in the playoffs this year, assuming the Jets get Rodgers. I think the Jets and Browns are the 6th, 7th seed in the AFC. They're
I
better.
give them 11. I give the Bills 11 wins.
The Patriots are okay. The
excuse
Dolphins are okay. I'm going. What is it? 10.5.
10.5.
I'm going under. I'm a little down on the Bills. I think they're 10-7 this year.
And the reason I'm down on them a little bit is because how old is Stephon Diggs? Stephon Diggs is
like
like
29,
28?
I believe. I'll
28,
confirm, G,
29.
but I believe 29.
Their problem is this. Like the Bills,
They trying to get D-Hop.
the Bills need another receiver. The Bills don't really run the ball like that. And their best running threat is their quarterback. I just don't. When I saw them play against the Bengals, I'm like, man, y'all, it's hard for them to move the sticks like that. Like, if you if you keep Stephon Diggs in front of you and you don't let them make big plays, like they have a hard time scoring all those points. You just can't give up the big play. Even when they played the Browns, I'm like, boy, this game is boring as hell. Like no fireworks, no nothing.
Yep.
I think they come back a little bit, and I
Yeah.
actually like the Dolphins in that division.
There you go. All right,
We'll get
next.
to the Dolphins in a sec. As always, though, our Browns talk is brought to us by Lincoln Electric. Lincoln Electric now hiring for great jobs. They are experts in manufacturing and welding. Check them out at Lincoln Electric. Next up, the Jaguars, one of the surprise teams in the AFC last year. They're over under the same as Buffalo's 10.5.
Now, this is an interesting one, guys, because
Their
at first
division
glance you think, well, the Jaguars are not good enough to win 11.
Their
But,
division stinks.
as Tyvis said, their division stinks. What do you got, Tyvis?
They got Calvin Ridley.
They don't feel like an 11-win team.
They don't.
But that division just
yeah.
sucks.
Well, they gonna win I give them one loss, so they 5-1 coming out the division.
Now, you know what could change it? What if Lamar ends up in Indy?
That changes a lot of stuff.
Then they would go to that.
That changes a lot of
right
stuff.
now.
I don't know that's going to happen.
10.5?
10.5, correct.
A lot of wins.
If
they were in Indy,
That is a lot of wins.
that's a lot of wins for a team that has had one.
What
good
did
half.
they have last year? Do anybody
Man,
know?
Their record last year, for the record,
And they got off to a bad start.
was 9-8, and they
Yeah.
had to win their last 5 games of the regular season. They were 4-8 at a point, and won 5 in a
love
row to make the
Calvin
playoffs.
Ridley. too.
I don't know. I might have to.
I'm going under.
I'm gonna go 10 exactly.
Even on that division.
10. I got 10.
Hey, why is Tyvis's face his Denzel face though? Like that's his suave face. His suave face. Yeah, nah, they ain't getting that one. But I think they take a little step back here. They played well last year. I even like how they played in the playoff games going to Arrowhead. But if I got the Browns making the playoffs, and I think the Jets could make the playoffs, then which 2 teams you taking
Well,
out?
the Jaguars
are gonna win their
still have to
division.
win their division.
They had to win their division. I don't think
So
they
the
get a
teams
wild
that
card.
I have out are Baltimore and Miami for me. Unless you said
Well,
maybe
speaking
Miami,
of
I
Miami,
like Miami.
that is our next team.
or maybe you got Miami and Buffalo and no Jets. That's
I like
me.
Miami.
I got Miami out.
Well,
Go
we
ahead.
have Miami and the Jets as the last 2. We'll go Miami first, but they do have the exact same win total over under, the same as the Browns. This is Miami first at 9.5.
I'm under.
I'm gonna take. Listen, for all they got a bunch of names. They could either turn out like the Philadelphia Eagles a couple years ago when they had everybody and their mom, and Vince Young called them a dream team. And I'm like, you can't call somebody a dream team and you play quarterback and you the backup. Like you can't. Like what are you talking about? But I like the fact that they got Jalen Ramsey now. They went and got Bradley Chubb on the defensive line. They got 2 crazy receivers. It's just all about you know who.
Tua.
It's Tua.
Yeah.
Like if Tua, I mean, he's 1 hit away from being done.
Yes.
But they got Mike
Finish.
White.
Ain't that the former
Mike
mayor?
White.
Ain't that the former mayor of Cleveland?
Mike White.
Shout out to it is
the
Mike
one
White.
that the
Yeah.
Jets receivers love. Too.
Yeah, look.
Mike White screws up my theory.
Yeah, no,
That
he's
all
not. Yeah,
that usually guys with the last name White are black, and guys with the last name Black are white.
that's kind of true. It's kind of
Last
true.
up,
Mike
and then
White
we'll
is
move
white.
to some Cavs.
By the way, I think the Dolphins go backwards this year because I don't like their team. I think their defense is not very good. Obviously, they got great receivers, but I got no faith in Tua, and they got no run. Who's their running back?
Nobody.
They got 3 slappies at running back.
Is
I-
my boy Raheem?
Raheem
Well,
Mercer
they still have
said
Jeff Wilson
old.
and Mostert, but.
they killed the Browns,
still
but then
fast.
again, everybody killed the Browns.
That's true.
All right, last one. Then
Jets.
we're talking some Cavs. The Jets may or may not have Aaron Rodgers, but they're over
I'm assuming you're
going
going
to
to get Aaron Rodgers, and I got him at 10-7 with Aaron Rodgers.
Man, this is tough.
It is because I really.
That's a
part of
borderline
me,
one.
A
They could
part,
be-
I just. It's too much hype around it, and I just don't think it's going. It's like
I called the Jets a fraud last year.
It's like
I
the
just thought they
Dolphins,
were,
man.
but-
It's too much.
I
It's too
can't-
much
I can't-
around it, and I just don't believe it.
Hey man, they drinking the 11-7 Kool-Aid a little bit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of difficult. Like it's hard for a quarterback to come right in and just
he
ball.
ain't there yet.
Yeah,
he
that's
ain't
fair.
got the chemistry like that, and it just seems to me like the Packers is really. I wouldn't be surprised if this whole thing falling through.
Watch Rodgers just retire, and the Jets have to start Zach Wilson.
That'd be so funny.
By the
Now
way,
you wonder if that falls apart, do the Jets go after Lamar?
Yes,
Yes,
I would
100%.
think.
that was,
I
Then,
thought
then,
the-
you, then I like him even
well,
more.
they should have went after Lamar to begin.
I'd rather have Lamar than Rodgers.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit. Bull, and I'll give you credit on this. When Bull was killing Baker Mayfield, he was right about one thing. In this city, we live by different sets of rules. Zach Wilson was the #1 overall pick.
No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
Was number 2.
2.
Look how quickly they was just like, oh hell no, we ain't doing
He's
that
garbage.
no more. Like it
Now,
took them 2 years.
in fairness, Baker was better than Zach Wilson.
But look
Yeah.
how fast they discarded him.
Yeah, right.
Like old worn socks.
Same thing with Sam Darnold.
Bye. They're quick.
You can't play. See ya.
And they draft. This is back to back.
Yeah.
Darnold didn't this man, and it was like, no, we're not about to play no
Jets
games
might
with
draft a
you.
quarterback again this year. Go ahead, Mikey.
They might. We're going to talk Cavs in one sec, but before we do that, I want to remind you guys that the Great Lakes Collectors Convention presented by Greeny Sports Card is taking over the Fieldhouse in Independence, Ohio from April 14th through the 16th. It's where passions of sports fans, collectors, and sports talk enthusiasts collide. 50,000 square feet of ball card bliss, hundreds of display tables, card shop live theater with interactive appearances from some of the region's most notable sports personalities, including myself, Bull, G. Bush, Jay. Jason Lloyd will not be there because he's going on vacation somewhere where no one knows. Great cards, great locations, great show. Tickets are on sale now at greenysportscards.com, and if you go to WKYC/contest, you can win free tickets, including 4 VIP passes. That's the first place prize. We're also giving away 20 tickets, just general admission tickets, as second, third, fourth, and fifth place prizes. WKYC.com/contest to enter.
You know what, McNuggets? I'm going to tell you something. The reason why y'all should be excited about this, I talk about this all the time. I think this might be the first place and first venue that you get people from different organizations, different companies, sports talk, that is on one panel, on one stage. Like, you never see this. I used to say we should joke and say we should have a reality show of all the top sports talk guys in Cleveland. And then I would go to the different organizations. I go to 92.3 The Fan, they'd be like, that ain't happening. You go to KNR, 8 ESPN Cleveland, that ain't happening. So, like, this is kind of cool, like, because everybody's going to be there at the same place, same time. So if you thought mixed match, how the hell would Adam the Bull deal with Aaron Goldhammer? Well, he's not going to be on the panel, but he'll be in the same building.
But I have been on a panel with him at something else. Because
he's Jewish, right?
Yes, he is.
Oh, yes.
I'm mad I won't be there.
What's that? I know we were going to miss you. But G and I will be on a panel that Sunday on the final day. McNuggets will be with us. Jonathan Peterlin from The Fan. Yep. Even though he's been told he's not allowed on my TV podcast.
What?
TV podcast.
I know. Hey, we're going to talk Cavs, and there are two things with the Cavs we have to talk to you today. So I'm going to present to you guys the first topic, and then we'll pivot in the middle to go to the second topic.
Well, but when are we doing was Earl high?
That's what
We're going to start, actually, you know what, Bull?
What is
I'm going to say something, then you can present what Bull said.
I wish we could play the clip of what Earl said. Can we do that, or is it too late?
It's too late now.
Okay.
But Donovan Mitchell last night, for the fourth consecutive game, Steve, you can take the graphic, scored 40 points. He's just the fifth player, in the last 30 years to do that. Scored 40 in 4 straight games, joining Allen Iverson, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kobe. Elite company. Before we talk about whether or not the Cavs can flip the switch, and before you give away was Earl on crack yesterday, the question to you guys is, how absurd is it to see Mitchell put up 40-point performances like it's nothing in games that don't matter, but in a way still do?
Well, I think for me, he's revving up his engine. He's letting everybody know that, he's in that, he's getting in that mode. He's letting his guys know that, hey, I'm going to carry y'all when we get to these playoffs. Just follow me. And right now he's trying to find out who's going to do it with him. And I think he's playing at this level in hopes that he get these young guys to start playing at this level because, like me and McNuggets say, you can't just flip the switch.
We'll get to that in a sec. Stick to just Mitchell real quick.
Look, man, I think people not respecting what we're seeing right now. I said it earlier the year, to me, in my opinion, he's the second best player to play here. Like, and I know you could talk about longevity, skill for skill, set for set. You seeing something you ain't never saw with nobody. And Kyrie Irving wasn't doing this when he was like a rookie, when LeBron wasn't here. Kyrie
he was a rookie.
I get it.
And Kyrie had no teammates.
But to be clear about it, you didn't see him. You didn't see Kyrie doing this consistently when LeBron was here for 4 straight years. And on top of it, Kyrie missed multiple games. Now, granted, it's just one small sample size. But you got to look at the fact that this man came from switch conference, and in 1 year, I've never seen somebody go to another squad and hit the ground, hit the track running, and like he's done this year. To me, he's supposed to be an all-NBA type player. He's showing you how to get it. And 4 straight 40-point games on top of the 70, on top of, like, and he did this early. He came in and got you almost a 50-piece in the Garden his first week. Like what we seeing is something we ain't never seen in a Cavs uniform. And like I said before, no disrespect to the OGs that played, but look, Donovan Mitchell is on a different level. And I told people before, my man Hiram called me all the time on Saturday. He be telling me about Colin Sexton, but no, my sir.
He's lost.
No, Colin Sexton ain't never been good or better than him. He ain't not in the same stratosphere, not the same tax bracket.
What is Colin Sexton doing this season?
Nothing. Like, he doing Colin
Hiram
Sexton
is,
things.
lost in the soup.
So, yeah, I think it's amazing what he's doing, man.
Oh, listen, Donovan Mitchell's awesome, but I do think some of our fans have gone crazy and are being prisoner in the moment, including Earl, and we'll get to Earl in a second. Number one, if you want to argue this is the best season by a Cav not named LeBron, I
give you that.
That might be the case.
I give you that.
But I can't put him ahead of some of the other great Cavs because he's got to do it for more than 1 year.
Right.
This year, as an individual year,
Right.
fine. But he's got to do it for at least 3-4 years before I put him ahead of the Mark Prices, Dohertys, and Kyrie's for me.
Unless he beat Giannis and sneak up and win a championship.
He do that. I'll bow down.
And if he does something in the playoffs, that's fine.
I will bow down.
But Earl yesterday lost his mind. We did a topic. I thought the topic was, is Donovan Mitchell having the best non-LeBron James season ever for a Cav? Which I thought was a good topic. I thought it was debatable. Kyrie, Mark Price had some amazing years, blah, blah, blah. Well, in fact, Earl argued yesterday that Donovan Mitchell is having the best year of any Cav ever, including LeBron.
Can't do it.
I mean,
and Earl is a barbershop representative.
We love Earl, but he was out of his mind yesterday.
Nah, bro. Listen, LeBron's, and I was in the chat. I was screaming in my mind because I wasn't talking yesterday.
Oh, you were on the chat during this?
I said, bro,
Okay.
you done lost your mind. I said, look, I put
People are killing him in
I
the
put
chat.
LeBron's stats, LeBron's final stats.
Wait a minute.
Just in the finals is just otherworldly. Just.
Earl was on the panel saying that?
No, he was producing it.
So backstory on that whole topic.
Yeah.
Earl sent it to me last week, and we love Earl. And he goes, "Is this the best Cavs season ever?" And I was like, "Well, LeBron, so no." And he goes, "Eh." I'm like, "Well, let's switch it to the best non-LeBron season because I think you're out of your mind."
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay." And then he was in this chair yesterday, and I said, "Earl, you know what? If you have a mic, you have a chance to defend yourself. If you want," and he tried. To his credit.
Well,
just don't
there's
think he
no
convinced
real
anybody.
legitimate argument. Like 3 of the 4 arguments he used with a 70-point game because LeBron hasn't done it in the consecutive. But that's just a couple of games. And Jason made the point yesterday, and I think he's probably right, that if Jason said if LeBron wanted to score 40 points every game, he could do it.
Oh, yeah.
He could.
Easily.
And
back when he was, younger. I don't know about today.
But
yeah.
he's still one of the best players in the NBA. He's almost 40 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Usually, most NBA players at LeBron's age, if they're still playing, they suck.
Earl is high.
Like here's the problem you got, bro. Like I've already made the case of why LeBron is not even really close to Jordan no more. And, when you start looking at it, it's just a simple fact that, he's getting 28, and I think he's averaging maybe four assists, right?
4 and 4 rebounds.
and 5. Yeah, 4 rebounds.
What does Donovan Mitchell this year do better than LeBron did? Maybe shoot threes?
Shoot threes and shoot off the dribble.
He had one higher scoring game than LeBron ever had.
I mean, LeBron is better at everything else.
So
even now.
Just to give you this, LeBron shoots 50% from the floor. He still averages 29 a game. So he averages more than Donovan Mitchell. But he averages 8.5 rebounds and 7 assists.
This is this year?
This is this year.
This is this year.
This is today.
9?
Yes, today.
It's ridiculous.
LeBron,
Come on.
39?
He 100.
How old is he?
I thought he was 30.
Is he
like
38?
37, 38.
LeBron is 38, and LeBron does currently average more points per game than Donovan Mitchell. Now, he's played significantly less games.
He played
However.
52 games, though.
Well, if he would have played 20 more, was his average have gone down?
No. But I'm just saying, Mitchell, he's only played 52 games this year. He's come in and out. But he's averaging more points per game.
We're now comparing to LeBron at 38 years old. Not when LeBron was in his prime playing here. LeBron, I don't even know if Donovan Mitchell can make one of LeBron's top 10 seasons. Let alone number one.
He led the league in assists last year.
Did he really?
He had 10 assists. You averaged 10 assists. Like, this is crazy.
He did not lead the league in assists last year, but he was close.
He was close.
Where was he?
fourth.
This is 20.
Give me 1 sec.
So 2019, 2020, he averaged 20 assists.
That was the season. The 19-20 season, he did lead. It was not last year. G was right, but it was in the wrong year.
Is that the
in
COVID
the 19-20 season, which was the COVID year,
Yeah.
he led the league with 10.2 assists per game.
Correct.
Come on.
In his age 35 season.
Why be better?
Shout out to Donovan. You killing the game. But the fact that this man is still 100 years old and still averages more assists, more points than you, and you a scorer.
To be fair to Earl, he did say Cavs, so you got to give Cavs stats.
Right, but you could argue all of LeBron's seasons in Cleveland are better than Donovan's.
Because he
certainly, if not all.
Well, I mean, they went to the championship
No.
every year.
Every last single one of them.
Probably.
No, his rookie year was not better.
Except for his rookie year, maybe. That's what Mike's going to argue.
Yeah.
What was LeBron's rookie year's numbers?
26-5.
Only 26-5. What a scrub.
No, not 26. Like 26 rebounds, 5 assists.
20.6 rebounds, 5 assists. Okay.
Which still not a scrub, but in a
At
different
what?
era.
18? Was he 18?
18, yeah.
12 years old. He's 12.
He's averaging 26-5 at 18 years old. That's his worst
Oh,
year in the league.
and then his second year, he was just better. He averaged 27, 7 and 7 his second year.
and
That's his
19 years
career
old.
average.
Forget it.
Come on.
Yeah,
End
so
of
we're,
conversation.
so I'm going
Ain't
to
no
close
reason to
this
talk
with
about
something Earl told me this morning, then we'll pivot to the Cavs and their ability to get ready for the playoffs. But
Yeah.
the stream crashed yesterday. Had nothing to do with us. It
I
was a
did see
YouTube
that.
glitch.
Yeah, we missed the
And-
last 15 minutes of the show.
Everyone in the chat was like, Earl definitely sabotaged the stream.
Because he was
And then-
getting killed. Poor Earl.
Hit
And then
that
Earl
abort
yesterday
button.
was out and about running some errands,
Yeah.
and he called me this morning and goes, "Man, people are watching this show more than I thought." And I go, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I went in to pick up something from the store," and the guy's like, "Man, I know you. Where do I know you?" He's like, "Oh, you're from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. That take was terrible today."
Poor Earl.
That was trash.
I liked that he stood tall on his
And he did. He stood
opinion.
up for it, though. I love
Stood
it.
up for himself.
He stood on it. He stood on it.
You got to stand on business.
That's
man.
right.
You
But here's
said
what we
you
have to talk
gotta-
about with the Cavs.
Yeah.
Because they did clinch the 4 seed yesterday. They will
They
officially play the Knicks in the first round of the playoffs. They will have home court in that
Is
first
it
round
definitely
playoff
the Knicks?
matchup.
Is that 100% too?
Yes, they officially have the Knicks, officially the 4 seed. Knicks will be the 5 seed. There is a trend, though, that you may not agree with. I know me and Tyrus are on the same page here. That
Well,
I
it's a
find
trend.
a little bit concerning as the Cavs seem to head to the playoffs. They seem to be turning it on in the second half, fourth quarter, playing some teams that they shouldn't have any real trouble with. Now, granted, I know it's the end of the regular season. They're tired. They're trying to just get to the playoffs. But it is very difficult, in my opinion, for a team that's proven nothing in the playoffs yet to just think they can flip on the switch and everything's going to be good. If you take their last 4 games, they've been down 10 points in each of those games, and they're 2-2 in those games. Tyvis agrees with me that it's tough to just flip the switch. You guys, when we were texting last night, don't seem to think it's going to be an issue. So I'm curious why you guys don't think so, and then Tyvis, you
why
can
don't
educate
start
them.
us off?
Well, look, I think it's not a big deal because it's like the first day of school. Like, yes, the first day of school is like, it's school, you still used to it, but you get an excitement level the first day of school because it's new, you got a new teacher, you got a new, just new schedule, new classmates, new context, new little content you kind of studying. So every year you get that anxious feeling like, yo, this is kind of new even though it's school. The same thing happens in basketball with the Cavs. Yeah, like they playing right now. They playing some teams that ain't gonna be in the playoffs. They actually are better than those teams, and they don't really have nothing to play for. They locked into what they're doing. So when you look at it, they're not gonna be out here too excited. The fact that I like the best about what the Cavs are doing is they are winning. That last year they came down the stretch when they needed to beat the Detroits and Orlando's, and they lost those games. This year, Donovan Mitchell was like, okay, guys, I'm going to show y'all how we do this. This is how you finish games out, and I'm not going to let us lose, right? Because in the playoffs, I need to be able to be the guy that says, look, hey, we're going to come out here and get smacked in the face. But I'm going to show y'all by my energy. I'm going to show y'all by my every possession count. I'm going to show you how you got to play in the playoffs. So a lot of the lackadaisical stuff, Darius Garland kind of, people was hitting me up like, Darius Garland be lax with the ball. So I was like, well, Darius Garland, that's his game. That's like, he always plays like that. So is it problematic in the playoffs? Is he going to have to kick it to a next level? Sure. But the cool thing about it is you now have somebody that you can get a ball to in the fourth quarter and get you a bucket. Because really, all of that kumbaya stuff all that's cool. All that we pass the ball around and everybody's supposed to get a touch and we going to spread the wealth. In the playoffs, bro, listen, you might come out here and the bench ain't giving you nothing. You may come out and Jetty ain't doing nothing, Karis ain't doing nothing, and you going to need Donovan Mitchell in real time to be like, I need to kick it switch because guess what? I got to keep us in this game. We can't get down 25. We might get blown up out of here and the series is over. So you need them to understand the switch. They younger, Mobley, Allen ain't really been there, Garland is young. They don't got that. So you need somebody to be able to hit a switch. Now, is it problematic if they go do that the first 2-3 games of the playoffs? Sure. But in that case, you about to be up out of here quick if you're going to do that. So I don't think it's no issue. They'll be energized and ready to go playoff time.
Before you respond, Bull, I just want to let everyone know that the 12 o'clock lunch hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is sponsored by Kaulig Racing, the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. Bull, your turn.
By the way, real quick, I do not think that, I know it's unlikely, but I do not think the Knicks have locked up the 5th seed. Are you sure about that?
I saw Steve Popper, who's a Knicks beat reporter, say it was official Cavs-Knicks first round.
Because if the Nets win their last 3 and the Knicks lose their last 3, they'd be tied. The first tiebreaker's head-to-head, which they're even. Then it would come to division record. And right now the Knicks are a half a game better in division record. But I assume if the Celtics win their last 3 games, I don't know.
You get into the minutia.
Yeah, it's stupid. All right.
We're talking flipping the switch, regardless of who they're playing.
Yeah, my bad. Flipping the switch. I have said consistently on this show that I think the regular season is a fraud perpetuated by the owners to make suckers like us spend money on games. The games don't matter. Brian Windhorst, one of the most plugged-in guys in the NBA, was on this show yesterday and said the players don't care about the regular season. They think of the season. The season may be 82 games. They think of it as 60 games. They don't care. It's all about the playoffs. You don't prepare for matchups the same way. You don't play with the same intensity. There is no bigger difference. Playoff baseball, great, different than regular season. Playoff football, great, different than regular season. There is no bigger difference, guys, than regular season NBA and playoff. It is the biggest gap of any sport, and the guys just come at it from a different way, whether they're veterans or rookies or not. You are playing with intensity on both sides of the floor the entire game. And yes, the Cavs don't have a lot of playoff experience, but their best player does. Donovan Mitchell has a ton of playoff experience. Jarrett Allen has some. Okay, some of their other guys don't. But it's not like the Knicks are loaded with playoff experience either. They've been a bad team. They haven't won a ton of games. So I have zero concern. It's hard the last 2 weeks in the season to get yourself excited to play Charlotte and Orlando.
Facts.
And maybe you may not like that, but that's just the way it is for a lot of teams. And you can say, well, they don't have the cachet. I don't know. And maybe you'll be proven wrong. I just think I think the Cavs coaching staff is already preparing for the Knicks. They don't care about these games. You are right now, it's got to be all about preparing for the Knicks, and you get into the minutia. You talk about the minutia of the schedule, Mike. The minutia of preparing for a team is unlike anything close that you do in the regular season. And that's why, to me, yeah, it's not ideal that they're having to come back in all these games, but that's kind of the way they've played for a lot of the season. That's their style. But I think in the postseason, you got a young team with fresh legs. I think they're going to play with a ton of energy. There'll be ups and downs. They're not that much better than the Knicks. The Knicks should make it a competitive series. But I think in the end, the Cavs will win, and I don't care that they lost 3 out of 4, and I don't care that they're playing sloppy first halves. Maybe I'll scream and yell about it if I'm wrong, but for now, I don't see it that way. Tyvus?
Real quick, Tyvus, in the last 12 hours, the New York Post, the Daily News, Yahoo Sports, and ESPN all have articles saying the Knicks clinched the 5 seed.
So there must be like some third tiebreaker.
Third, fourth, fifth tiebreaker. Whatever. So it is Cavs-Knicks.
Yeah, okay.
I just think that it's hard, being an athlete, I think it's hard to just get your body to just do something. Like if you go out there, if I was to go practice 70% all the time and then on game day just expect myself to be 100% and just react the same way, I think it's hard to do that. And like I say, Orlando is not a bad team. I think that it was something they was playing for. They was playing for the 50th win of a season, something that hasn't been done without LeBron being here. So I think that was important to them to get that 50th win. I'm with Mikey on this one because to me, you haven't outside of Mitchell, you haven't earned the right to really just take games off like that. Like you need all that you can get because everybody's not perfect yet. Everybody don't have on this team that one go-to thing that they're good at. They need to still figure that thing out. They're still polishing their game. So I think that you have to utilize games like Orlando to really strengthen up that thing and get that thing done like that. So yeah, I'm not with the flipping the switch thing. I'm not saying that Orlando, you need to go out there and go balls to the wall for Orlando. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that we at least need to be comfortable knowing that, hey, this game, y'all, we're better than them. We don't have to worry about them. In the fourth quarter, we should be sitting down instead of us trying to come back. Now we're using energy that we could have stored. Now we're using energy and wasting it on Orlando and not getting the proper rest. So now we might go in with tired legs.
Well, let me ask you guys this question, because to that point, do you sit all your best players these last two games?
Yes.
Yeah, I ain't playing them.
Yep.
Why would I play? Like,
I got the 50th. I got the
50th
50th win now. We good.
I ain't playing them.
I got 50 wins. I can't move from the 4 spot.
I might play them half the game.
Nah, I'm not trying to get Julius Randle out here. These guys, you know, this cat's out here wishing for injuries. Like, you know, I'm playing. Like G. Bush.
You know
like
what?
G.
I
Bush.
say you.
You know what?
I don't want that.
Let's see Danny Green get some run. Let's see if he's got anything left in the tank. Let Jetty play. Maybe he plays a lot and gets a shot cooking. I don't know.
Didn't Jason say? Maybe it was Jason. Didn't somebody say that like the Cavs played so much defense last year that when they got towards the play-in, like their legs was tired because teams aren't used to playing defense. For 82
and they have
straight
played
games.
good defense again this year, but they haven't played as well defensively. It feels like they've taken their foot off the gas on defense lately.
Yes.
That's the area really where it feels like.
Hey, man, I ain't trying to get Jared Allen been a little injured.
Yeah, I'm not playing him at all.
He's not playing. Donovan Mitchell. Listen, we talk about JB. Don't do it to yourself, big dog. I'm letting you know. Somebody come out there and twist the ankle in these little Charlotte. You got the Michael Jordan Bowl coming up.
Yeah.
You got the Team Jordan Bowl coming up, and you mess around and Darius Garland pull up on an injury. Stop. You might as well go ahead and put everybody. Listen. The only Mobley is playing is Isaiah. Isaiah out there pulling up. Like, I got green light for Isaiah, right? Yeah. Him and Danny Green and just
bring up the whole G League team.
I mean, I 100% believe that they should be a full preparation mode for the Knicks. I mean, this is a team that whether people say the regular season don't count, but you lost 3-1 of them, and I think you gave your best effort, especially Donovan Mitchell. He gave his best effort to win those games, in my personal opinion. So I think that you need to plan for the Knicks. I don't think that it's just a walk in the park like people think it may be.
No, I don't know why anybody would think that.
Yeah, because we haven't really.
The Knicks are well coached.
Exactly. So I think that and I remember Jason saying that when Ty Lue was here, that they'd spend time prepping for other stuff. They didn't even really pay attention to some of the stuff that happened in the regular season.
We're going to find out, Tyvis.
We are going to find out.
We're going to find out because like when you get to the Garden and they start playing that organ, they start playing Spike Lee running around, and you let Jalen Brunson hit a couple threes. We're going to figure out exactly who he is, bro.
I'm telling you.
By the way, a couple other NBA things. Do you know which team right now is not in the playoffs? Not even in the play-in. Now, they still got 3 games left. They could still make it. But at the moment, they are not even in the play-in.
Yep.
That team
I wouldn't be
since
shocked.
they got Kyrie, they've gone down to crap.
I wouldn't be shocked if Luka requests a trade.
He out of here.
Kyrie's already angry.
He's not going to request a trade. But another trivia question. Put your phone down. Don't look at this.
Oh, sorry.
How many teams in the Western Conference we talked about the Cavs' road woes all season long and how they struggled. How many teams in the Western Conference have a winning record on the road?
1.
Any other guesses?
How many
teams in the West have a winning record on the road?
4.
2.
Bull's right.
I
It is
did look.
only the Sacramento Kings, the only team in the Western Conference with a winning record on the road.
When's the last time the Kings were in the playoffs, by the way?
They have the longest drought. It's been like 20 years.
You know how bad you have to be to not go to the playoffs for 20 years in the NBA?
The drought is
2006.
Oh, my God. That's not 20 years. What are you talking about?
Well, it's 17.
Okay.
I said it was like 20 years, give or take.
Oh, like 20. Sorry.
And
That's
they
a
used to
long
Was
time.
2006 with Mike Bibby and Peja Stojakovic?
Probably.
They were still in Arco
Probably.
Arena.
How old are you, Tyvis, again? 29?
29.
So Tyvus was 12 the
Because
last time they were in the playoffs.
the Kings was my favorite team on NBA Live.
really?
I used to play with Bibby and Paige. Just the way I could be. That's why I know
They had Lawrence Funderburg,
Oh, God. That's
Bobby
Divac, Bobby Jackson.
Divac. They had your boy, what's his name? His wife is on Basketball Wives. Doug Christie, White
Christie.
Chocolate.
Was it Chris Webber?
Chris Webber was
in the
cold
day,
back
yeah,
then.
yeah. But they've been, for the most part, they've always been terrible. For the most part.
Yeah.
With rare exceptions.
I mean, yeah.
Do you expect them to do well?
I'll be honest, I have no idea. I've barely paid
People
attention
think that
to
they're
the
going to
West.
be a first-round exit.
That's the way-
They're
I
going
was
to play
watching-
the Warriors or something
I
like
was
that.
watching.
That's the weird thing about the
They're
West. You look
dead.
at the top three
They're
teams.
dead.
They
Denver,
did.
Memphis, and Sacramento.
You need to cut it out.
It's the first division title. But does anybody pay attention to divisions?
They don't even know it.
in the
No,
NBA?
you know Miami's going to win their division, and they're in the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
They're dead.
Denver, Memphis, and Sacramento are the top three seeds in the West. And nobody's going to pick any of those teams to make the finals.
Memphis is dead
Wait a
too.
minute.
Memphis dead
You don't think
Phoenix is hot.
You telling me the Sacramento Kings have no
Oh,
shot
they
against
dead. They don't even know it.
As of now, they'd play the Clippers in the first round.
who? The Kings?
Kings would play the. As of now,
Oh, they dead.
the Kings would play the Clippers, and it would be Phoenix, Golden State in the
That'd be
first
awesome.
round. Now that could change.
Is PG-13?
But what if
playing?
we get Phoenix, Golden State in the first round? And
be
then
awesome.
right now the Lakers are the 7
That
seed.
would be a nice.
But still, right now between Golden State at 5 and Minnesota at 9, there's only a 2-game difference, and then Oklahoma City at 10, Dallas at 11, and Utah at 12 is a game and a half difference.
You know what's crazy? You know what's completely nuts? Like, anybody in the East can win. Like
On the West, you mean?
Say for instance, if the Knicks got into the finals,
you think the East?
like if the Knicks get no, like whoever comes out of the East, there's like 6 teams that could come out of the East that would legitimately have an opportunity to win a championship.
But right now it feels like to me, it feels like Boston and Milwaukee win the championship. Anybody else is at least a little bit. Like, I think after those 2 teams, it's a toss-up between like 10 teams.
Yeah.
I think Philadelphia could win.
Yeah.
Like this
I
is
just don't trust James Harden.
I don't need. This is the crazy thing about
I
it.
don't
Like
trust him
we're in a
either,
middling
man.
state, right? Like so, I've never been in the playoffs with the Cavs where, like you didn't know you was going to the finals. Like when you played with LeBron, you knew, oh, we about to at least go to the Eastern Conference Finals,
Right.
regardless.
The last time, like, the Cavs were in a situation where they were in the playoffs and it could be really good or really bad was with the 90s teams.
90s. So it's a
been
different way
it's
of
like
watching.
30 years almost.
It's like, so what do you like?
Right.
It's it's almost like this
With
is,
LeBron, it was finals or bust. That was it.
It feels like watching baseball, right? Because
Right.
you know, like, okay, if I get hot or I got a good pitcher or you know, like there's some things that fall our way, we can make it to the, you know, World Series. And I'm not saying it's a long shot, but look, man, I look at the Celtics and they just don't scare the living daylights out of me like the Sixers. Because I know
you talking about for the Cavs?
yeah, for the
So
Cavs.
is it because they did well against them in the regular season?
I maybe because the way that the Celtics is built, like.
You think they match up better against them?
Because I think you could do some divide and conquer with
The
Jay.
Cavs have struggled against the teams that have the one huge guy,
Yeah,
Embiid, Giannis.
right.
They struggled against Jokic.
Well,
like,
man,
those are the teams that they
got
match
Robert
up worst
Williams.
against.
If you could get into the,
Yeah, but he's not a big scorer.
Nah, he ain't no scorer at all.
the key to the Celtics is Jaylen Brown.
I
See,
agree.
Jaylen Brown he feel like he like a sidekick, and so when you start feeling like a sidekick, you go back and look at what our Achilles heels was before Kyrie really locked in. Kyrie's like, I'm the guy. We're like, bro, if you don't just go ahead and just start playing in these playoffs,
Kyrie and Deion Waiters.
Jaylen Brown, to me, I think if he doesn't make, I was watching something they say, if he don't make All-NBA first team, like they would not be surprised if Jaylen Brown just left.
Well, the new CBA they agreed upon is going to let him get paid even if he doesn't make first team All-NBA G. So he's going to get his super max, legit max contract.
Oh, they about to, so they got rid of the first team all.
No, you still get incentives, but the new CBA, which goes in effect this offseason, means teams can re-sign you without that for up to 40% more than your current contract was.
Was
not
that
20,
the quietest most under-the-radar CBA
Ever in the
extension in any sport.
history.
I'm shocked that the one and done didn't get thrown away, but I guess they letting players.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
You can use marijuana now, so they said
That's all that
them,
matters.
forget them.
Hey
kids.
guys, it is 12:15 though, which means it is time to remind everybody that Colleague Racing is the official sponsor of the Lunch Hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Colleague Racing, the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. The Guardians had a wild game last night. Unfortunately, it did not end in the fashion that Guardians fans would have liked. Bull, do you want to start with Zanino, Karinchak, or where do you want to start with the Guardians?
I hope he go where I'm good. Where you think he's supposed to go? Your boy Karinchak, bro.
Well,
He hot and cold, man. He hot and cold.
we'll get to Zadino. Now listen, I don't trust Karinchak. I don't write off guys 1 week into the season. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that in any, well, in football maybe, but even in football I don't really do that. But he's been shaky in 3 of his 4 appearances so far, and Classe needed the day off after blowing the save the day before, and so they went to him in the 9th and in a 3-3 game, and he gives up the run there. Good job by Tony Kemp. He had a really good at bat after kind of costing them early in the game. I don't want to kill him though. It wasn't like he was that terrible. Listen, guys go through ups and downs as pitching, but he's dealing with some mental hurdles, struggling with these new rules, and he seems to be kind of a guy who can get off kilter, G, very easily. And you can't be that as a relief pitcher no matter how good stuff you have.
Do you think he ever cheated before? Because it was a guy I talked to about Karinchak a couple years ago, and they said that when he used to rub his hair, he'd be getting that stuff.
Who knows? I hate to accuse a guy of cheating when I don't know. It was fishy that he was always doing that. And then as soon as they changed the rules, he sucked the year after that. However, he bounced back last year, and he pitched really great when he came up. So
here's the crazy part about it. What scares me is I get scared by any pitcher that does not have overpowering something. Yeah. Like if you can't blow it past me, or if your curveball really ain't dropping off the table like that. When I see Karinchak, it's like, you remember when John Rocker lost his fastball? And then he started throwing for like 92, and people was like, we don't care how much energy you bring to the table to the mound. For me, I just look at Karinchak, and one thing I learned about watching last year in the playoffs was the fact that you automatically know in the playoffs if you trust somebody or not.
100%.
It's in your stomach. You're like, oh, Lord, here this guy comes. I don't get the same feeling when I see Stephen. And my thing is, too, I'd rather see Herron. I'm trying to see the young phenom. Like if you, where you at? Like, at the end of the day, I'm going with that because he got some dominant stuff. And Karinchak just seems to be like, I've never really seen a pitcher to be that demonstrative that still was under control.
So you moved off of him. You're not on the Karinchak.
No, actually, to be truthful, I felt so badly about it. I think that the Guardians, as I look at their pitching, right, the hitting has been great. Your boy Miles Straw is out here raking the ball.
They're hitting very well.
They are hitting really well.
Zanino,
if they continue to do this, Bulls wrong. That Blue Jays.
He batting 300. Listen, I think he hit safely in pretty much every single game. Ramirez is hitting the ball well.
Everybody is except for Josh Bell is off to a slow start.
Oh my God, he's like,
he'll be all right, but he's off to a slow start.
I give him credit.
What's my dude from last year? What's his name? The big hitter that got sent to the Columbus.
Oscar Gonzalez.
No, not Oscar Gonzalez.
Will Brennan.
No, he got sent to the Columbus Crew, and I said, I'm going to go see him. And then he got cut.
Fran Mil-Reyes.
Fran Mil-Reyes.
He's playing for the Royals this year.
Is he really?
In fact, he had a home run yesterday.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Now the thought, I think
the one thing I'll say about Karinchak is, here's the thing right now. His curveball is good, but his fastball is not, he's not throwing as hard, and guys are, even Tony Kemp, who got the game-winning hit, I heard his comments after the game, and he's like, Karinchak's soft curveball is nasty. I was looking for the first fastball he threw me, and I was going to attack it. And that's how guys are attacking him right now. They are looking for the fastball. He's over-relying on it. It's not crisp right now.
He better put it in.
And that's why he's getting hit. He's got to turn it around. But he has been a guy in his Guardians career who he's like this, as you said. I mean, when he's on, he's nasty and unhittable.
Because he just did it against the Mariners.
And he gets a ton of strikeouts. I believe he led the majors in strikeouts per 9 innings last year. But when he's off, he's a disaster.
He got to find some consistency, and I think it's growing pains. He's getting adjusted to the new rules. He showed you a good game. He showed you some bad games. We need to find out who he is. I'm not ready to give up on him just yet.
I never give up on a guy this quickly.
Yeah, it's way too early for that.
I can't Duke a knee jerk in April. They ain't even played a home game. But I will have a wish list.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm trying to see. Listen, I've been in the time machine. When can I? Now this might be a stretch. We might not see Gavin Williams. We're not gonna get to him this year, maybe. But I need to see Bibby. I need to see Bibby though.
Yeah.
Because Bibby, as a matter of fact, he's throwing harder than he was throwing last year.
Yeah.
Velocity is up, and on top of that, he got crazy command. So if it's me, by the end of the year, if I could get Bobby up here, I want to see more Heron. But for me, I think that if Tito has to look at Karinchak and say, look, man, I'm going to rock with you the first part of the season.
Yeah.
But as things go a little bit longer, I don't know. And by the way, Arias,
hit a bomb yesterday.
I like that power for middle infielders.
Yeah, he's going to get his at-bats. Will Brennan's getting his chance. He's playing well. Again, really everybody except for Bell, I think. Is there anybody else not off to a good start?
No, and actually I was going through the lineup yesterday. Right now, and I'm going to just give you the batting averages of this team. And I know it's super early. It's not a good indication, but it is silly how well this team's putting the ball in contact, getting hit. Jimenez is batting .333. Miles Straw, .333. Quan, .308. Ramirez, .308. Zunino, .294. Naylor, .286. Brennan, .250. Arias, .222. Rosario struggled a bit. He's only at .214.
Oh, yeah.
And then we got Josh Bell at .059.
So it's really only the guys who are playing pretty much every day. It's Rosario. Oscar Gonzalez off to a slow start, but most of the guys are hot right now. And so, yeah, I mean, I think we're all happy with the lineup. Listen, you hate to waste a game against the A's, who are really in the long run are going to be really bad. Yeah. But still 4-2. Hopefully you take what they're playing. What, a 4 today? Mikey, what are they playing? A 4 today?
Guardians, I believe 405.
Finally, yeah, and then and then the home opener on Friday.
3:37 first pitch. Excuse me. 3:37.
It's supposed to be cool but sunny on Friday for the home opener.
And at the end of the day, it's about winning series, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna win
3-1.
Yeah.
And when you look, actually before last game, they were leading the American League in runs.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, and I'm critical of them when I talk about the sticks. But it's not like you look at the Yankees. The Yankees ain't really been doing too much when it comes to putting, getting runners in score position. But I will say the only person that's struggling is Josh Bell. I think he's like 1 for 19 or 1 for 20.
Once he gets his rhythm and he start putting that bat on the ball.
Yeah, he's a streaky player.
Yeah.
He's a streaky player. He'll get hot. He'll hit a bunch of home runs in a week. Maybe he's going to use all those bats as once. We'll see. That'll be fun.
He look like Sonic and Tails.
No, he really does.
One thing, though, and Mikey mentioned it before, Mike Zunino's been terrible at blocking pitches in the dirt. That's been, you know what? He had a reputation as a really good defensive catcher. He's great at what's called pitch framing, which is the ability to get a called strike on a borderline pitch that other catchers might have called the ball. It's very important. He's good at throwing out runners, but his Achilles heel, if you will, is stopping the ball in the dirt.
I didn't tell you.
Now, 7 pass balls. Is that accurate?
So
this season,
MLB.com has the pass ball stat. It updates every week. So this is when I went back and I counted game by game. I counted 7.
That's not wild pitches and pass balls combined. It's just pass balls.
That might be wild pitches, pass balls combined.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine a 7 pass. I know he's had a bunch.
Well, yesterday the one with Bieber was considered a wild pitch yesterday, even on a strikeout. So it's a wonky
when it's a wild pitch, that means essentially errors on the pitcher. When it's a pass ball, it's on the catcher. Right. But the thing is, though, there are plays that are wild pitches that the top catchers will stop and prevent the wild pitch.
Yeah.
He's been terrible at that part of the game.
Like yesterday, I forget who was on the mound. They threw a breaking pitch. He didn't strike in the game.
Was on
striking the guy out.
Yeah.
He had his glove turned over. I'm like, take that to the chest and block that.
I don't know what.
And just throw the guy out.
He's never been this bad. It's pretty ugly right now.
And real quick on that, so pass balls, like you said, you can some are wild pitches, some are pass balls. It's up to the official scorekeeper to give it either way.
Yeah.
When he was in Seattle, and I did all the research on this, and it's tough to put it in a graphic because it's advanced analytics. It's hard to make the abbreviations work. But he graded very high at throwing out runners at second. He graded high at framing, top 10 percentile of catchers for his whole stay in Seattle.
He
was the first Mariners catcher to allow 3 pass balls in a single inning.
Yeah, I mean, that's one game. I don't want to.
But I'm just saying, it's not like he's gone off the hill. It's never been a strength of his.
No, he looks particularly bad. Mike Zunino has played with Seattle and Tampa, so it wasn't like I was watching him play every day. But watching him play every day here, he's been bad at that.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Him or Hedges?
What you mean?
I'm still taking
what
him.
What you mean? Zunino.
I just wanted to see. I just wanted to check y'all temperature. I just wanted to check y'all temperature.
And he got power numbers.
Because I was going to say.
Zunino's a significantly better hitter. Zunino's also better overall at throwing out runners, although nobody's really throwing out any runners right now because the stolen bases are like 90% successful around the league right now. And he's great at calling pitches. That's the only thing that he's not good at, and it hurts. It's going to cost you.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
But Austin Hedges should not be in the major leagues.
If he
he's the worst hitter in baseball. He's already on the injured list for Pittsburgh.
If you a catcher with power that can hit, is so valuable. Like if you want to keep giving up pass balls, as long as it ain't costing you no games, I'll take the power.
He's got to clean that up, and what we may see, and you don't see this very often at this position. Like, a lot of times you'll see if you have a good hitting outfielder that's not good in defense, you'll see the good defensive outfielder come in the 8th and 9th inning when the game, like if you're winning. They may start doing that with him. I don't know the advanced analytics on Mebris Valoria and Cam Gallagher, who are their backup catchers, but my guess is those guys, especially Gallagher, has been a backup catcher in baseball for a while. You don't last as a backup catcher in baseball for a long time unless you're really good behind the plate.
Fact.
So I'm assuming they're both, and certainly Gallagher, good defensive players. I haven't seen them enough here, obviously. So we may see those guys consistently come in. Like you see, whenever Zunino's likely last at bat is, 7th or 8th inning, and then the next inning they bring those guys in. It's not ideal, but he's hurting them defensively right now.
It's my fault that this happened.
Why is that?
Because I text the group chat about the A's looking unathletic when they ran into each other, and then boom, Zunino pulled his neck. It's 2 times now. I just said so. I called this show. The old tiny one and jinxed it, and I done jinxed it.
Awesome. I will say this, man. Watching Quan is fun, bro.
Oh yeah.
Because like the way he gets his bat to the zone is crazy. Like. When you take a look at his hands, he's able to contort his hands. His wrist is his wrist is crazy. Like he gets the balls like when he's hitting that normal batters not getting to. I mean, he can hit the ball left field, right field. He can spray the ball the other way. Like he does a great job of just controlling, and he don't swing and miss. Like it's crazy, like how he's able to get to some of this stuff. He just reminds me of Ichiro so much, and it's just funny.
Yeah, I mean, he's not quite as good as Ichiro at this point. Maybe if he
don't get it twisted.
Hopefully, one day.
But he has the same type of game. Good defensive player, good arm, good speed.
He can get on base.
Gets on base, doesn't have much power. I think Ichiro could have hit for more power, but that wasn't his game. But if I'm the Guardians, I'm really working hard to lock him up because he's not a power hitter, so it's not going to cost you a ton of money. Non-power hitters generally don't get paid a ton of money. But he's a perfect leadoff hitter. He's an old school type of leadoff hitter. It reminds me another guy reminds me of back in the day. I think you'll remember this name, G. Brett Butler. Remember him?
Brett Butler.
Giants and Dodgers?
Yes.
He's that, like, a bunch of singles, doubles, put the ball in play, run the bases well. He does everything well. His game is, except for power, he does every other aspect of the game at a very high level. Seems like a great teammate, smart guy. He's awesome. I'm with you. And
by the way, Rosario is struggling a little bit.
Yeah. He got off to a bad start last year, too. He'll be all right.
But listen, the Guardians got so many middle infielders. Like I'm looking at these names. They got Angel Martinez. These dudes ain't even getting off the
Brian
snide.
Rocchio.
The Rocchio cat.
Yeah.
There's
so much they have to trade.
And so for me, if Arias is going to show that level of power, I'm cool. You move him right on over here, whether it's Jimenez is going to be short or keep him at second.
I would still. I'm not trading Rosario because he's not going to bring you much back in the trade, and he's important to the team. But he's going to be gone after the year, and I think Arias is going to slide right in there. Yep. Go ahead, Mike.
I like him.
It is 12:30, and as always, the lunch hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is sponsored by Kaulig Racing, the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. We have Joe Marino from the Draft Network joining us in one sec. But before we bring on Joe, I want to remind everybody that if you're not already a member of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, now is the perfect time to join. For $1.99 a month, you get loyalty badges, custom emojis, and members-only community posts. For just $4.99 a month, that's less than $60 a year. You get all those same starter tier perks, plus overtime videos, member shout-outs, and much more. Discount codes for merch. It is worth the price of admission. Today we're talking about whether or not runner-up in national championships should be invited to the White House after Iowa and LSU had that bit of a debacle. And joining us now, Joe Marino, NFL draft expert. What's up, Joe?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Joe, any truth to the rumor you're related to Dan?
I get that all the time, but growing up in Western New York as a Bills fan in the 90s, that last name Marino didn't suit me well. So no, no relationship to Dan.
Up and coming battle rapper Don Marino. Actually, I like him as well. There it is.
No.
Where in Western New York did you grow up?
He was about to
Grand Island. Points. Yeah, Grand Island there. Just, I guess, northwest of Buffalo. Yeah.
Oh, that's the boonies, man. That is the way boonies.
Joe, let me.
I thought he froze. I thought he froze. He's like, dog, these dudes playing around. Joe, let me ask you. I see the Bill stuff in the background. Let's dive into this situation. Anthony Richardson. We was arguing about this guy a little bit too. I think Anthony Richardson is getting the same effect when you look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen was played at Wyoming. Had a really strong arm, not really accurate. Needed some little polish to him. Anthony Richardson, is fast. He's big. He looks the part. I literally think off the strength of what Josh Allen has transformed into, that Anthony Richardson didn't put himself in the top 15 because teams are going to say, look, if I could get something like that, yeah. I'll take Anthony Richardson. What are your thoughts on him, or even possibly a Will Levis? Because I think he's another guy who kind of fits in that mold of great talent, great structure, but doesn't have, I would say, the polish yet.
Yeah, I think Josh Allen has helped prospects like Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, both guys that have all the dynamic physical skill that you could be looking for in terms of size, arm talent. They can run. These guys are really gifted, and you feel like they have all the traits necessary to be a franchise quarterback, to be the reason why you win football games. But certainly rough around the edges, and Anthony Richardson coming into the NFL with less than 400 career passing attempts in college. I mean, he's really under-repped and needs a lot of work, but I think a success story like a Josh Allen can warm up the idea of betting on those traits for some of these teams that, look, if you're in the AFC and you don't have a Mahomes or an Allen or a Burrow or a Herbert, you're really in a tough spot. And I think that the race to get these types of guys really does help their, what Josh Allen's been able to do, and a success story there with a raw quarterback coming out of Wyoming.
Joe, I don't understand why Hendon Hooker don't get a lot of praise. I mean, this is a guy who I think he threw for 40-plus touchdowns. He only had a couple of interceptions on the season. He ran that air raid. Why is it strictly because of his age that teams are scared off of him? What is it? Because to me, I think he's literally the third best quarterback in the draft.
I enjoy watching Hendon Hooker. He's got really quiet feet, really smooth mechanics, his good size, athleticism, arm talent. There's a lot to like there, but I think there's three pretty challenging layers to the evaluation there that makes him difficult. I think you mentioned it's the age. He's 25 years old, and he just tore his ACL, right? A late season ACL tear. That's a 9 to 12-month recovery. So now you're looking at a situation where he's probably redshirting as a rookie, and you're not really going to see him take the field until he's 26 years old. On top of that, he does come from that Josh Heupel air raid spread tempo offense. It's a very extreme version of that. I mean, the spacing and tempo of that offense is not like anything we see in the NFL. And so there's a big curve and a big, way that he's going to have to translate his game to fit into what the NFL is going to ask him to do is pretty steep. And so I think when you layer all that together, the age, the injury, and the adjustment, you can see why maybe there's not quite as much draft value there as maybe the season he had this past year at Tennessee. Obviously did some really special stuff.
Joe, let's get to the Browns here. I'm curious your take on this, because we look at the Browns, we see that linebacker is still the biggest position of need. They don't have any picks in the first 2 rounds, but they have 2 third-rounders, 2 fourth-rounders, and 2 fifth-rounders. So I guess my question is, is there a linebacker you could see being available, maybe even in the middle or late second round, where the Browns could package a few of those third, fourth, fifth-round picks, maybe a pick next year, whatever? Is there a guy you think that could be worth trading up for in mid-second round-ish that you think could start right away as a linebacker in the NFL?
I think there's a lot of teams that are looking for a true starting starting inside linebacker. Cleveland's certainly on that list. Pittsburgh, Buffalo, the Giants. There's a lot of teams out there that need that starting Mike linebacker, and I don't feel like this draft really has a great supply of them. There's 2 guys that I would feel comfortable saying I think will be good NFL starting Mike linebackers. It's Jack Campbell from Iowa. It's Drew Sanders from Arkansas. And I think the need that exists out there, we just went through a bunch of teams that need a starting Mike linebacker, and the scarcity of what's available really makes this difficult. And so if one of those guys were to get to the middle of the second round, I think that's when you have to start having that conversation so that you can fix that hole. And I think either one of those 2 players would make sense to move up to get. However, I still think Cleveland has needs at defensive tackle, edge, maybe wide receiver, maybe another running back. And so you have to foil that against the opportunity cost, because if you part with the assets that you have to go get this linebacker, you're still not going to be able to find, key pieces at other spots. So there's a lot to consider there. I know that there's some familiarity with, Anthony Walker and Sione Takitaki, Jacob Phillips, JOK. There's a lot of players there, but, not that true downhill Mike linebacker for the middle of Jim Schwartz's defense. So it's a big need. I'm just afraid that there's not a whole lot of options, and certainly where the Browns are picking makes it even more difficult to land on a guy.
Joe, our next question comes from the YouTube chat. Whenever we ask a question from the chat, it's brought to us by PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply at precast.com/careers to learn more. I scoured the web this morning, Joe, for mock drafts that go at least 3 rounds and found 5 different guys mocked to the Browns at number 74. Granted, it's impossible to mock 3 rounds out. You don't know what's going to happen. But of these 5 guys, Steve, you take the graphic full. Rasheed Rice, the wide receiver from SMU. Brandon Joseph, the safety from Notre Dame. Tajay Spears, the running back from Tulane. Antonio Johnson, the safety from Texas A&M. And Devon Achane from A&M as well, the running back. Of those 5 guys, who would you like most for the Browns at number 74 if they're available?
Man, I wish I had some different options here, because there's not a whole lot that moves the needle for me. I mean, these are a bunch of little people. I want to see some D linemen here for the Browns. I want to see a linebacker. But I guess, man, this is tough. I'm pretty satisfied with what they have going on at safety, so these options don't really appeal to me.
Take a safety.
I don't get it. I don't understand these
These are
picks
not
at
my
all.
mock drafts. Yeah. This is what the internet's telling me.
Surely you would never do that. I feel like the player there that provides a dynamic to this team that maybe is interesting to me is Devon Achane or Tajay Spears, where you can get a real speed complement to go with Nick Chubb, obviously Jerome Ford, right? The RB2 right now. You're looking for potentially an upgrade there. You want to make sure that Nick Chubb is fresh and complement him. And so I feel like the most meaningful thing that they could do is find that complement. And I could be convinced that Spears or Achane would make sense of these options, but I don't know that much of this really moves the needle for me.
There's 2 guys on Tennessee. We talked about Hendon Hooker. There's another guy, the edge rusher Young and Jalen Hyatt at wide receiver. I think I fell in love with Jalen Hyatt just running past people. Like it's just mesmerizing. He's wide open. I don't know what route he ran, but he open. And then Young is another guy who is a little older. As an edge rusher, what are your thoughts on 2 of those guys and where they could fall?
Yeah, I love both of those players. I think those are really good Browns-type players for what I think they need. You start with Byron Young, the edge rusher from Tennessee. Really cool story where he was working in retail and winds up just putting out some videos for him and playing at smaller levels, right, at community college level. And the next thing you know, he's getting offers from all these Power 5 schools. He goes to Tennessee and really strings together a couple of nice seasons. And there's a lot of burst and bend and flexibility and a lot of variety with the way that he can beat blocks. And so had a chance to meet him at the Senior Bowl. I'm a big fan of who he is as a person. I think he'd be a great day 2 pick for the Cleveland Browns to add to what they have, of course, with Myles Garrett, a player that I'm very excited about them adding in Agbo Okoronkwo. I think you still need more at edge, and I think Byron Young would be a great way to add to it. You mentioned Jalen Hyatt. I mean, I think that he really fit well because I think what the comparisons are for him, a lot are Will Fuller, a guy that we've seen Deshaun Watson have a lot of success throwing the football to. And, Jalen Hyatt, you mentioned he gets open a ton deep. I mean, that's that spread offense that we're talking about where the splits are just insanely wide. The spacing is insane. And that speed with that much stress in terms of the spacing that Tennessee puts on college defenses, these guys are all wide open all the time. And I think Jalen Hyatt proved that, he's got that ability to get behind secondaries. He's got really good ball skills and hands, a little bit of a slender build, but you're getting this guy for that speed dynamic. And that's obviously going to really impact the spacing of the field when you got a guy that can lift the roof of a defense. And that's going to open up things for a great route runner like Amari Cooper. And of course, David Njoku, Elijah Moore, a player I'm really excited about to see in Cleveland. So I think he's one of those math changing type players where if you put him on the field, he commands respect. And I think that's going to open a lot for whatever team he heads to, but obviously envisioning him with Cleveland, that's pretty exciting to me.
Well, just a really quick follow-up. I don't foresee him being there in the 3rd round. He's a guy I think somebody would draft in the 2nd round or possibly overdraft him because of that right opportunity. Where do you have him kind of mocked to go?
Yeah, I think if he's going to go in the 1st round, I think the Chargers are kind of that team that needs that type of a skill set to improve their offensive spacing. But yeah, I think right there from the early 20s up till around pick 50, I think is the strike zone for a guy like Jalen Hyatt. The NFL always loves speed, right? You can't teach it, and Jalen Hyatt certainly provides that in big playability. So I think he'll probably go in that range.
All right, let me talk to you about these DBs because I'm a former DB myself. It's the 4 corners, obviously. I think it's Devin Witherspoon, Gonzalez from Oregon, Banks, and Joey Porter Jr. Out of those 4, who is your top guy? And then, obviously, they break these positions down separately now. Give me a slot corner because right now it's some riffraff in the Browns secondary of who's going to play nickel. So just the guy who you think could be there maybe in the 3rd round that the Browns could potentially think about drafting for the play nickel.
I think my guy here is Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon in terms of my CB1, 32-inch arms, really dynamic athlete. Loved how he transitioned from Colorado to Oregon and really elevated his game. He showed ball skills in a big-time way this past year at Oregon. And so I think when you see young players like a Sauce Gardner and a Tariq Woolen last year and what they did in the NFL, and you have some physical characteristics that are pretty similar, I get really interested in a Christian Gonzalez-type player. Now, when you mentioned that slot position and looking for one of those guys in the middle rounds, I got to point you to Travius Hodges Tomlinson out of TCU. I mean, he's a dog, right? He's not going to check the boxes in terms of size, but watch him play, man. He's sticky in coverage. He's willing to be physical and play off contact. And, you play in the slot, you're a little closer to the action there. You got to have some run fits and be able to blitz a little bit. And I certainly think he can provide those dynamics, if Cleveland's not kind of satisfied with what they have in-house. And, certainly some versatility with their corners, but finding the right mix, I understand. And so if I'm looking for that mid-round slot, I'm looking at Travis Hodges Tomlinson from TCU.
Joe, how long have you been doing scouting?
Well, I started back.
I was going somewhere with that. That was a 2-parter. Hold on. Give Joe 1 second to pop back in here.
Mikey jinxed it.
Yep. That's exactly what happened.
It was Earl.
The ghost of Earl again.
The ghost of Earl. Hold on. You guys take it up. I'm going to work with Joe to get this back up real quick.
Guys,
I do want to get there 1 second.
Joe mentioned the Browns have a lot of things they want. Listen, I don't think – I would love to see the Browns take another wide receiver somewhere in this draft, and if they want to take another running back, that's fine. But I don't think either of those things at this point.
It's linebacker.
Linebacker is definitely the biggest need. Now, you don't want to force it if there's not a guy you don't like or trust.
No, I like Jack Campbell. Obviously, he
Yeah.
was at Iowa, and I got to watch him go against the Buckeyes. And
You think he's like a starter, definite starter, good player in the NFL?
Yeah, the only thing with him is that messed me up a little bit. The only thing with him is that it's his lateral movement and his speed is the two concerns. Because I literally watched his highlight tape like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Because everybody been talking about Jack Campbell linked to the Browns in the 3rd round. So I was like, let me look at this guy.
Yeah.
Man, I remember watching him against the Browns. He does well in run fits and stuff like that. But I think if he goes up against, Kansas City and he has to be in pass coverage, a little bit concerns me a little bit there with the speed.
I mean, can anybody stay with Travis Kelce? Are there any linebackers?
Well, no, he wouldn't be. I'm talking about running backs.
Oh,
He'd
I
be
see.
checking running back.
Yeah.
Middle linebacker ain't checking no
Yeah,
tight
that's
end.
true. All right, fair
That's
enough. Yeah.
you asking to get 50 put on you. But I was talking about as far as that, and then if he goes up against one of those speed backs, sometimes I just don't know about the angle. Now I will say he does have great awareness. He's situational football is
Instincts
great,
are good.
and he does really well in pass coverage. Like as far as like getting to his zone and dropping, it was against the freaking Buckeyes.
Yeah.
He read play action, took his steps up, got back into coverage, got his eyes on the quarterback, and picked C.J. Stroud off.
Yeah.
So it was perfect.
So what he doesn't have in speed, he makes up for in instinct.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like for a linebacker, the instincts, because you can't teach the instincts.
No, you can't.
Like,
you cannot.
DeQuell's talked about this all the time. JOK just doesn't have the instincts as a linebacker.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have a guy who's less athletic.
He reminds me
and more
of
instinctual.
Joe Sherbert,
Yeah.
however you say it.
You
Got a solid player.
Yeah,
not great,
that's what I'm saying.
but, yeah.
He's solid, he's productive, but
Yeah.
You got guys coming, Jacob Phillips, torn pec.
Taki coming off injury.
Taki with his
All of them.
ACL.
ACL.
Anthony Walker.
Anthony
ACL.
Walker, Anthony Walker tore his quad.
Yeah.
JOK has been injured with a lot of different.
Yeah.
injuries.
Every linebacker on the roster's been hurt.
So, like, my thing is, I mean, are you? Who's the guy they brought in last year from Alabama off the street?
Deion
Oh,
Jones.
Reggie Ragland.
Reggie
Reggie
Ragland
Ragland,
actually
yeah.
played pretty decent. So maybe they like Reggie Ragland, but I mean,
Well, I don't
Anthony
think
Fields.
is he on the roster right now, Reggie Ragland?
I don't think so.
I don't think
Deion
so.
Jones is
Deion
not.
Jones is not on the
He's a free
roster.
agent right now.
Reggie, and then you got Anthony Fields. He was hurt last year.
I forgot about that guy.
So, like, you got all these guys who, like, and here's the thing about injuries. You don't get better while you injured.
No.
All you doing is coming back to get base level. You just trying to, like, I remember when.
You could become smarter. Like, you take that time
Yeah.
to study. Like, Anthony Walker's, he did something interesting. He's been spending time with the offense. So he's, like, been sitting in offensive meetings trying to learn their philosophy and what they're doing on offense to make him a better linebacker, which is smart by him. But at the end of the day, all you got to do is watch film and understand preparation. You get certain formations, it tells you the story. You find out what that offensive coordinator likes to do. You figure out what situation it is, because that's all football is, it's situational football. On tape, they've already shown you against your scheme on 2nd and 7, these is the plays that they typically run on 2nd and 7. You remember those plays, you look at the formation, you see what they're doing, and boom, you got a great idea of what's coming.
The great thing
And
about
I just broke down football for y'all right there.
But you also said earlier, it's all about lateral mobility as
It
well.
is.
So if Anthony Walker used to playing at a certain speed, right? If he come back and he's not able to play at that certain speed,
Right.
now, I know where the play is, but can you get there? And I think he's athletic enough that I don't think he should lose too much. But the problem is when you just trying to get back to, all right, am I able to play without, you know what I'm saying, taking a day off? Think about it. You implement a brand new defense, right? And all of your linebackers were at some point ended up injured for the rest of the year.
And it's not like they were that good to begin with.
And it was like you was struggling anyway.
Yeah.
So now when you go to practice in camp, you automatically know they're gonna be on the side half the time.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be chilling and being playing every single day. So I guess the tough part is implementing the defense. You're going to have guys on limited reps because they're not going to play every single day.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to try to keep them healthy to get to a point where you can make it to the season. So that sets you up for a little bit of, we didn't practice together. We need cohesiveness. We had a couple busts here or there because guys is moving. We ain't got no time for that this year. I need my guys to be available. So give me a linebacker that could play and show up to practice every single day and get reps.
Well, I mean, that's a position where it's good. You're going to be. There's no more veterans to sign. I mean, any veterans in free agency at linebacker are bottom of the barrel guys at this point. So you're relying on the guys you have now, which are not particularly good, and you probably add a rookie, maybe two. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted two linebackers, but they haven't had a lot of luck drafting linebackers. They haven't done really well with that.
The thing is, it's going to come down to they have to use the strength. The strength is that their D-line should be significantly better, and their secondary was always a strength. Those linebackers, Jim Schwartz is going to run 3-on-1 a lot. Like, that's just –
Explain that for the
so
folks who don't know.
cover three is 3 deep. You got a post safety, the corner, and both corners has got a third of the field. The post safety got the third, and you got your linebackers either playing a buzz or a hook drop, and you got your other safety, either he's a buzz or a hooker, depending on what the scheme is. And then cover one is you got one post safety, everybody else is in man across the board. So the reason that they do that is because it's the same shell. So if a quarterback comes out and he sees one high, he doesn't know if you're in 3 or 1, but he assumes that you're in 3 or 1. He won't know unless he motions somebody and somebody goes with him, he'll know, okay, it's man. Nobody goes and they just bump, it's 3. That's a way to know, or he'll know post snap, looking at the post or looking at the down safety. Anyways, the reason I bring that up is because these guys have to be good in coverage. If we're going to stop the run, if Jim Schwartz is going to come in here and they're going to get these D tackles to plug up the run, these guys got to be good in dropping in coverage. And it's hard to take those drops. Like coming off of injuries like that, I just talked about how Jack Campbell, he read play action, then got back.
Right.
If you coming off of a leg injury and they run play action, you bit it, it's hard for you to put that foot in the ground, especially if the knee is not all the way where it needs to be. Turn around and try to sprint 12 yards back to get to your hook drop to stop the dig or something coming across. So I think that's why you need to at least have some healthy bodies in there. But ultimately, it's going to come down to that pass rush. They're going to have to cover up for these linebackers if they get big on play.
And JOK to me, he's like a blitzing back.
I will continue to stand on the fact that JOK is a Sam linebacker, meaning that he is not in the box. He is outside of the box where the quote-unquote nickel would be. So if they run base defense, he needs to be at Sam where he's to the field because he's athletic enough to cover up the field. If they throw to the field flats, he's athletic enough to get there. If they throw a 7 route and he's a buzzer, he's able to flip his hips and get underneath that 7 cut. And his best asset to me is blitzing, which comes a lot from the Sam back.
But does he have the instinct to read it quick enough?
If he reads pass, that's his responsibility.
If
you're a defender in coverage, you always defend high to low.
They got him out here in the wheel.
They keep putting him in the box, and
I'm like, he out here getting absorbed.
Well, hopefully Jim Schwartz
like that box thing. You gotta.
Are you confident that Schwartz is going to put him in a better position?
I hope. It's his job too.
Yeah.
Like it's because you can't. I'm not with DeQuail on it. DeQuail is just completely.
See, that's what happens when you play two of a high good. When you play at a high enough level, you be trying to get everybody up out of here.
DeQuail
you ain't good.
DeQuail we just need to cut him. I'm not saying cut him. I'm saying put him in a better position to succeed. We tried to experiment him in the box. It's not for him. You have to have great instincts, you got to have good lateral quickness, and then ultimately you got to be able to get off blocks, which he struggled with all 3 of those.
He's not as big as Tyvus.
That's what I'm saying. So we got to put this man in position to win, and that's put him outside. So if he's outside and he's at the Sam and the run comes to him, his responsibility is to turn it back. All he has to do is leverage the defense.
I would think with Anthony Walker being back that he would be anyway, right? I mean,
no, because he was playing Will with Anthony Walker. Anthony was playing Mike. And JOK was playing with, and Taki was playing Sam. Yeah. And I said that I don't think that's right.
Well, can Taki?
He played Mike, and he had this best part of his season was at Mike. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they do. Mikey, what's up?
So we're still streaming fine. Everything's going out perfect. I'm just going to give everyone an update, let them know what's going on. We've lost all internet down here. Now, the stream is unaffected because it goes hardwired up to the Elemental. The Elemental sent it to YouTube. But we have no internet. We can't play videos. We can't change supers.
That's fine. We only got 7 minutes left. So.
VMix comes in. Our calls come in through
Let's
Wi-Fi.
Go. Technical difficulties 2 days in a row. Let's straighten this out.
It's very different. I don't know what it is. So we got 7 minutes real quick. We're going to do some final takes. wrap up with
All
some
right,
final takes.
tell us
here.
about Colleague Racing first.
And Colleague Racing is the official sponsor of the 12 o'clock hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Also,
Do I have a final?
the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. I say there's no internet because I believe it should not affect the overtime stream, but that does go directly to YouTube from here, unlike a regular show, which goes to the Elemental. So, should be overtime. We're going to try to do overtime, but if there's not, it is strictly because IT is down here
Steve,
trying to
are
figure
we
out
sure we're
whatever's
still
going
on the air? Because Steve just texted what's going on.
No, we're on.
We're still on. Okay,
We're on.
good. All right, then we'll get the final takes. Tyvis?
My final take for the day is.
Wait, Tyvis, you know what we got to do? Steve, roll. Oh, we can't roll it. Tyvis,
Oh,
I'm sorry, we
roll anything.
can't roll it.
Yeah.
There's no way I got a final take there. my final take for the day is, I'm being dealt with a decision, and I've let everybody here know about these decisions, this life-altering decision that I have to make. And to me, when you get dealt, when life deals you cards like this and it's unexpected, the best thing to do is to think about, why you do what you do. What do you in life to do? And to me, I'm at the crossroad right now because it's really tough. Good thing that the moral of this story is to always have good people in your corner that you can go talk to. And, I got a lot of OGs, in my corner, giving me advice about this thing. And I'm really leaning towards a certain way now. And I really appreciate, these OGs for looking out for me. So the moral of my final take is to make sure you find somebody that you can bounce ideas off of so you don't go through this life alone. And obviously, older people got more experience in certain things. So it's always nice to talk to them about certain things.
Good take.
Dope. I'm gonna try to save this for the bulk of the situation because we'll probably talk about it a little bit. There was a whole big, uproar when it came to the women's championship, right? And it was so crazy. Internet went crazy, whatever. So I'm gonna save most of the bulk. What I gotta say when Brad is here, and we'll kind of get into it since I wasn't here to kind of comment on it. But I just want to strip it down to its lowest common denominator. Nowadays, there's so many different people, and this is the problem with sports, man. It's the fact that people infiltrate sports and don't understand the culture of sports. And people infiltrate it and get in, and they try to turn it into something that has never really been. At the heart of sports is all about competitive nature. It's all about you versus me and who gonna get it done. The greatest thing about sports is because people play in between those white lines, they can control the narrative, right? I can always get better. I could beat you, you could beat me. I could come back and get better. But the fact that so many people outside that have never dribbled a basketball, never thrown a football, never stood in front of a 100-mile-an-hour fastball is always trying to turn the game into something where it's this nice little cute thing they can put it in their little box and put it on a shelf and come back. We're not about that life. Trash talk is the inherent part of what sports is. It's like saying you go to a UFC fight and somebody that don't like fighting says, I think guys shouldn't be able to hit guys in the head. Well, who cares what you think? You're not in the culture. And if you're not of the culture, if you're not putting time, energy, and effort into the culture, you don't understand what it is. So when people try to take trash talk out of the game, when people want to water it down, safety is a different thing. But when it comes to the passion, the emotion, the exuberance that you have from playing the game, don't try to strip that from me. Like, that's what we do. That's what athletes do. And sometimes the athletes got to tell the regular people, you come watch this game, right? You come spectate. Well, sometimes you got to spectate. Sit in the crowd and don't say nothing. But like, you get the opportunity. And we're not begging you to come over here and play. We're not begging you to comment on our games. We doing what we do. It's the simple fact that it's the emotion. It's down to the biggest the common. It's gladiators. It's two dudes and they will and a test of how intestinal fortitude they got that they putting on the line. And for everybody else that they want to eliminate trash talk, and I just feel like you should hand the ball to Barry Sanders like Barry Sanders did. That's the way well, you didn't play, dog. You went to school. You didn't do nothing. You wrote papers. You've never even been physical. You ran away from every dog in the alley. You ain't never fought nobody, and you ain't passionate about nothing in life. That's why you at where you at today. You sit here and you're non-passionate. You're never going nowhere. So let the passionate people do what they do. You stay in your lane. Be really safe. Get your 401k, retire with no memories, and let's keep it pushing.
I do think trash talking, and I don't think it was the case here. In my opinion, there are some times where it goes over the line. It can go over the line. And
Yeah, if it's personal.
This was definitely not the case here.
No.
And it was the usual suspects that you would expect that were critical of her. What's her name? The girl, Caitlin Clark, said she had no problem with it.
No problem with
No,
it.
because she's an athlete. She's a competitor. Trash talking is part of sports. I don't think I'm not going to have my third and fourth graders trash talk. I don't think that's necessary at that age. But if you're a professional athlete or a college athlete, in my mind, college athletes are professional athletes. As long as it doesn't go over the top,
I did it in high school.
You know, way over the top, you can basically do whatever the hell you want. That's part of it. It's not personal. It's in the moment. I'm fired up and I want to kick your ass. And that's it.
Like I said, as long as it ain't a personal shot, I pulled out a personal shots before, but as long as it's not a personal shot, you good.
I always say this too, and I had a problem with the land. Look, me, where I grew up from is you never say nothing against nobody's personal character, or you say something that's really over the top offensive because you might have to actually see them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It is ironic that people who. It is ironic that people who complain, that other people are always offended, got offended by this.
Crazy.
Ridiculous.
Crazy.
We'll see you on overtime. Should the second place
We hope so.
We might see you on overtime. Should the second place team be invited to the White House? If not, we'll see you tomorrow. I won't be here, though. Neither will Tyvis G. Will. We'll see you later. Bye.